got the best match with Dragon and Jared, a very tight race. And now we get to talk about Dragon a little bit more as we head into our match with him against ZAC. And between those two, the two top dogs of the community, two heavyweights, it's very likely that whoever wins this match has the best chance of actually winning the entire tournament. And I guess we'll just talk about Dragon being the #1 player. I mean, he is a very, very good player, and I guess I'll let you talk about him a little bit more here.
Yeah, Dragon, and I mean, Dragon's just an anomaly when in terms of this game. He came out of the scene in 2024 around September, and it's 2026. We're inching closer to September, and he's already the #1 seed. He's already held the world record, and he's one of our top players at this point. And it's just crazy to see that growth. I believe that he's the #1 seed, and a #1 seed has not fared very well recently in these tournaments. As you can see, getting a little practicing on that Godfrey, that is going to be the most important trick. But yeah, here we go.
Yeah,
he did beat Frost in that Ladder League season 2.
Yeah, your GOAT. I mean, the fact that he was seed 8 in the in season 2, and now he going into season 3.
Yes.
He is #1 seed. He's knocking out the #1 seed last year and going into this year as the #1 and not losing the first match, which is, you know, not what your GOAT could have done last season. Sorry to bring him up again.
Oh my goodness.
In that way. I'm sorry. But yeah, in terms of Dragon and just how skillful he is, it's going to be really impressive, and I'm excited to see what's going to come of this one. And I guess at this point we'll talk about ZAC. I mean, I'll let you.
Yeah, ZAC. He's the cornerstone of this community at this point. He has so much for production and everything, but I guess we should really talk about his strengths as a player. I mean, he is probably the GOAT of TCS in general. Like, he has multiple records in free play. He's the TCS any percent 26-time world record holder. He has the current world record at a 2:16.05, inching ever closer to that 2:15 time. And we just have a battle of the best that the community really has to offer at this point ahead of us. And this is probably going to be, besides the grand finals, the best match of the tournament. So I'm just so excited.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of ZAC, like, he's basically everyone's coach of the community, has all the knowledge and skill required to actually get a really good time. As you can see, actually practicing, I think, the new strat that was found this morning by Cedamnastic. Yeah, he is actually setting it up. Let's see if we can actually hit it. Oh, okay. I guess the camera doesn't want to show us.
We don't get to see that.
Yeah, no spoilers. Okay, I guess we'll find out. But yeah, 26-time world record holder. He is just an unbelievable force in the community that just keeps driving it forward and keeps innovating. And yeah, him and We Super, of course, tying for the most world records. So if they meet up in the grand finals, we'll be seeing a very interesting match. Although having some issues hitting Boom Skip here.
Yeah, the latter portion.
So he may just drop this trick entirely as he's trying to figure it out. But yeah, this new heater skip gonna be a little interesting to see if Echo Base is gonna look any different for us.
Yeah, definitely interesting. I don't think it's really worth labbing and putting into the run yet. I mean, I know it's easier, but like, if you can't save time with the lines, then it's probably not worth it for him. But either way, I mean, we're inching ever closer to that match, and it's just, I can't believe we're here. I mean, semifinal day, Dragon versus ZAC. I mean, this is the 1 seed versus the 4 seed. I mean, we can talk a little bit about that. I mean, ZAC being the 4 seed, it's still a surprise, but he made it past Senior with really a lot of ease yesterday. I think it was like a 5-minute victory. And then Dragon as well, but despite the technical issues, making it over Jared with like a minute to spare. So
yeah, I mean, I just remember yesterday with Dragon, it was a matter of him just trying to lock back in after that tech issue. I mean, he had a bit of a shaky end to episode 3, but then finished it out from there. And here he is playing ZAC, one of the hardest opponents that he could possibly face up against. So
yeah,
I guess we could talk about the match yesterday as well, in terms of the back and forth we saw between Dragon and Jared. It's kind of interesting to see how each runner just like, they either decide to talk or they don't. I think specifically the last match we saw last night, I don't know that Anorak or We Super actually exchanged any words at all.
Yeah, they said nothing to each other. So I think that'll probably be the same case for Dragon and ZAC, because this is probably the most stakes in a tournament match we've ever had in a Lego match. Like, this is TCS 90%, the most like clouded speed run of the Lego speed runs, and this are the two best players, and we're here in person playing off 4 feet from each other. So I mean, I doubt they exchange many words.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine not having Jared on the other side might help a little bit. So, which I mean, I think if anything, it helped ease Dragon's nerves yesterday, and even Jared's at this in the same light. So the fact that we are seeing a potential, you know, no talking match like again, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because I mean, it's interesting to just see the dynamic between each runner. I think I heard talks that they can kind of see each other's like eyes over the monitor or something like that. So it's like you kind of get that little awkward eye contact as they're trying to like figure out like what level they're at based off the clicking they hear and everything else. It's very interesting to see how the dynamic is different between everybody. I know that, like, for example, Bricko and Evan, good friends, as we saw from the pre-match video for their match. They only really talked after that DSC, which you can see these very excited viewers here. Yeah, very hyped. Oh, yeah. Chimkin just in the back there. Maybe he's opening a box or something. I don't know.
Good.
But in terms of what we're gonna see today, it's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, gonna be amazing. Of course, we have the second match of the day right after the first one, and a little bit of content between Justin and Bricko, like the winners from yesterday. So that's gonna be something to look forward to as well. So, but yeah, we're just I'm so excited. I mean, the fact that we're even on this match, this Dragon versus ZAC, I think it's a huge honor to be here.
I think one thing we can kind of touch on is just how much this in-person element is changing how everyone's playing. I think, you know, with the comfort of being home on your setup, what we've seen so far in the tournament, just not even top 8, but in the tournament in general, everyone's been playing at a very good high skill level in terms of sub 220s.
Yeah,
we didn't see a lot of those yesterday.
That's true. I think everyone's going to be like more comfortable, like we've said, playing one match on these PCs, and I believe most of the runners today are going to be on the same computer that they were on yesterday. So shouldn't be as many issues there. So it shouldn't have much effect on it. I mean, at this point, I think you can't even really use that as an excuse to why you would play bad. It's really just what happens in the moment for if you play bad or if you play good. And I guess we can talk a little bit about the strengths of these runners in terms of the run. I mean, I think Dragon really his only like shortcoming to ZAC is probably episode 1. I mean, Dragon is still good at episode 1. He just is a little less proficient than these other top runners. So
yeah, I mean, I think both of these guys are really well-rounded in terms of the entire game. It's going to be hard to see a fault in either of their play styles or just what episodes they're weak at, I guess. But in terms of the advantage, I think you're right. I think Dragon is a little bit shaky on F1 compared to to ZAC, but it's gonna be interesting to see just how the pace is out of pod race. That's obviously the biggest like pace setter. So as long as Dragon and ZAC can both get out of that cleanly, I think we're gonna be seeing a very tight match. Obviously, any mistake in pod race is huge, but I know when ZAC was talking about the match to some people yesterday, he was mentioning his match yesterday. He was saying how he did this level bad, even though he had one of the best times in the entire tournament so far.
Yeah, it's just kind of ridiculous. The guy is complaining he gets a 2:18.22. I mean, it's not even a bad time.
The greed sickens me, really. It really sickens me.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, to be fair, that he was off like 5 hours of sleep. He had been doing so much editing and like directing for the skits the day before. So the fact that he played so well off all that fatigue yesterday, just really a testament to how practiced and just how skillful he is at this game. And then on the inverse, Dragon hasn't really had to do anything for production. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I think the fact that the 3 out of the 4 runners are having to worry about the production side of things, on top of worrying about playing at their highest level, it's going to be interesting to see how they manage to kind of figure out how they can play their best game. Really, I don't really know how else to put it. They just have to figure out how to just keep their mind inside the game as they're playing it instead of worrying about the production side of things, as that can play a huge factor into just distracting them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's true. In terms of the rest of the game, I guess we said they're both really great all around runners, and like Dragon and ZAC out of pod race, it's really anyone's game at that point, as long as there's less than like a 30-second deficit. So,
I guess if you had to predict anyone, who do you think is taking this match home?
I really like ZAC in spots like this. I mean, to be fair, both these runners are extremely composed, but I tend to favor ZAC historically. Like, we have never seen Dragon in a match like this, like as high pressure of a situation
Yeah,
as he's about to be in. I mean, literally the two best players we have to offer at the moment. So
I honestly think Dragon is taking this one home, and
Okay.
I think the reason why is because he has such. I mean, both runners have high standards,
yeah,
but every time that I race against Dragon, it's like where would I be at? I'm in Theed and this guy's in like BHP, and it's like he's complaining about getting like a 409 BHP, and I'm like, okay, like I wish I could get that for breakfast, man, but you know, you're just the best, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, Dragon only having one world record compared to ZAC.
Well, if Dragon came on the scene earlier, he would definitely have more world records.
Right.
But because the game is just so optimized at this point, the fact that he even got to record level and the amount of time that he had is it's really exciting. But I guess we can also talk about it because Dragon and ZAC got the world record immediately after Dragon got it. Dragon got like a 2:17:02, I believe.
Held it for like what, 8 hours or so?
8 hours. Yeah. And then ZAC got right back into the speed runs, and he got it by 1 second. So imagine if like ZAC wins by like a second today. That would be really fitting / interesting for, like, I guess just like history's sake.
It would be poetic is what it would be. That would be an interesting way for the match to pan out, and I could see it ending up being that way, and I could see it going either way.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're as you mentioned, only by 1 second. I think we're gonna see some interesting flubs on each end, as I think nerves are gonna start playing a factor as things kind of ramp up. We did like we mentioned in terms of runners not getting 220s. It seems as not getting sub 220s, I should say.
Yeah.
I think nerves and just the atmosphere is kind of just playing a factor for a lot of people, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see just how these two are able to handle the situation that they're put in, being in semifinals, going head to head against the best of the best.
Yeah, it's gonna be cinema for sure. And I guess the last thing we can say about the match before we get into it is just good luck to the runners. Hopefully we have a good match. Close out of pod race will be fantastic, and we're ramping up here, guys. Semifinals. This is where the best of the best are playing. Just really exciting stuff.
Yeah, Dragon with his interesting setup with I know he has pause on right D-pad because that's something that everyone does, I think. But yeah, just as you can see, I think a little bit of a good bit of a difference in terms of how they also use their controllers as well. We'll see that as a thing throughout the match, but
yeah,
what works for each runner works for each runner.
Yeah.
And I guess on a more personal note, how are you feeling today?
Feeling good, man. I'm so excited to be here. I've said that plenty of times at this point. Dragon vs. ZAC is just the pinnacle of this game. So the fact that me and you get to be on the mic for this,
dude, for real,
is just a privilege for sure. So
it's been incredible to be here in general, and the fact that like we're able to commentate such good matches so far. I'm really excited to be here. It's
Absolutely.
Really awesome.
Yeah, in person in Indianapolis. It's raining outside, so not a sunny day for us, but we're inside, so we're good. We're in the AC, chilling.
Yeah, I think the top 8 house actually got woken up by a thunderstrike this morning, which is pretty fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, made sure we were on time.
He was the one that got it the worst back there. That's Patton, by the way, if you guys don't know who that is, doing all the music productions and working hard on the clock right now as well. So we will leave him be as we are just about to get into the match. Should be showing up in just a moment here. But yeah, we'll be seeing that negotiations cutscene not too far from now.
Yeah, the intro that everyone's familiar with, especially if you tune into a Jared stream or a Cold Nate stream.
Oh man, especially that Cole Nate stream.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see a CG from him today for one reason or another.
Potentially. But yeah. Ladder League Season 3 Top 8 semifinals coming at you in just a moment. Dragon and ZAC are two best players in the game.
Yeah, and as you can see later in the day at around 3 p.m. EDT, we do have Bricko and We Super going at it.
Mm-hmm.
Going to be the 7th seed and the 6th seed. So 2 people that honestly I think were the undercards or the underdogs in the slots they were in before. So the fact that they're able to come out on top, especially with how big of a lead they had out of those matches, it's quite impressive to see just where they're at in this tournament so far.
Yeah, very impressive for sure. And that's going to be in just as exciting of a race for sure. I mean, Justin been around and pillar of the community for so long. Bricko not far behind. I think he came in just right after Justin joined the community, and he's been here ever since. And we've said this plenty of times, but this is the most stacked tournament of TCS 90% ever played. We have all of our top 10 runners besides Colton and Frostbite. So everyone's competing. Everyone's been trying to win, and we're down to 4 players. And as you can see, we're getting started here. Gonna get that countdown going soon. Everyone's getting on the main menu, and we're about to get going here.
Yeah, things are getting tense in that room, I'm sure, as we see production making sure that ZAC is all good before we get started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as you mentioned, very stacked this time around, and it's interesting to just like, you know, you feel the aura in the house, really. Like I feel like if I touch this brick, I'm going to be getting their powers, maybe.
Exactly.
And that is the brick that the winner is taking home, by the way. They are going to be able to take that home. I think we're planning on maybe signing it.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a little memorabilia to go alongside it in terms of who was here at the house when the first in-person tournament actually happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wish I was fighting for that brick right now.
There's always next year, man.
There's always next year.
But I guess we could also talk about the fact that Jared and Evan are now eliminated from the tournament. So we will have a new ladder league champion.
That is true.
This time around. We have 4 players. I believe Justin has never won a tournament. Bricko has also never won a tournament. So
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Bricko played in season 1.
Okay.
I could be wrong about that. But yeah, Justin being a runner-up 3 times in 3 different tournaments. I believe season 2 and then the OG right. tournament seasons. I believe he was also a runner-up twice.
Mm-hmm.
So not a place that he wants to be in anymore. I think he wants to get that gold because he's sick and tired of waiting for it.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of ZAC and Dragon, like with ZAC being in the community for so long, I think he obviously wants it more than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And Dragon being so new, I think it's just going to be a bit interesting for him to see just how he kind of, I don't know. He obviously wants it, but in terms of how he manages his nerves and just the experience he has with the game and playing it, like it's he has less compared to these guys.
It's true, and I guess it also should be mentioned. This isn't the last you're going to see of these runners today. There is a 3rd place match taking place before the grand finals tomorrow that will determine that 3rd place. So loser of both these matches today will still be playing another match, and we'll get to see more gameplay out of them. So definitely. Will be nice. At least once you make it out of the quarterfinals, you get to play 2 more matches instead of just another one. So it's awesome.
And I guess unless we have the screen popping up in just a second here, what's your favorite piece of content we've had so far on the screen?
Oh God, they're so good. I think the Guess the Runner one was really well done, honestly. And I mean, there's some hard segments in there that is really hard to differentiate the players playing. Some of them were a little easier, like if you really know ball and you know like how people tend to play and how people go for certain stuff. But yeah, that was a great content piece. Also very like lengthy. It took them a long time to edit that one. So yeah,
I think it was about like, I don't know how long it actually was. I think it might have been like 7 hours or so or something like that.
It was a lot of footage to edit down.
Yeah. Trying to think what else we have played. I mean, the fast food tier list, a lot of people had opinions about that yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I think I tried my best to kind of fix the awful list that was made.
Yeah.
So
you did some
alongside Saber, of course. Can't forget Saber helping me with that. I mean, I let him choose the chicken places, so I hope no one's mad about that part of things. But yeah.
No, that was good. You guys did good there.
Just not a chicken guy.
Not a chicken guy.
I'm sorry. I know this guy's a Chick-fil-A fanatic. So.
I love Chick-fil-A.
He's actually used my name in the drive-thru. If you can believe that.
Yeah.
I think, was it Tony or just was it?
No, I used Tony, bro. Okay. If I used was it, they would not have known who I was. They're like, who's this random, bro?
They probably would have put WhatsApp, I think, or something like that. They're like, why is the representative here or something?
It's a good call. But yeah. I mean, it was also the chess lemonade skit. That was
that one. Honestly, yeah, that's my favorite. I think if I had to choose,
a very funny skit.
Yeah,
And we have more coming at you guys. Like, also, I guess that Bricko Evan video that they made, that was really well done.
Pulling out the heartstrings, really, as you mentioned, like that. Yeah,
tearing up yesterday. That was a fantastic video, and I'm pretty sure all the videos that we're using for like introduction content skits will be released in some type of playlist after the event for your viewing experience later if you never got to watch them. But yeah, a lot of great content, so much effort being put in. I can't stress it enough. All the organizers, all the work being put into like make this possible. It's been such a joy to be here and witness it all happen and be a little bit of a part of it, even if we're not as involved in the content and the editing and the production side.
Yeah, the whole structure of everything that they've been trying to figure out, especially being here on Media Day, which Mello unfortunately did have to miss. But in terms of the people that were here, I mean, you really got a feel for just how much care is being put into this product. It's impressive, just the level of expertise that's being put into this, because I don't think I could do this myself. I don't think I could do I don't think I could do a fraction of the work that they're doing right now, because I simply just, I don't know. I just don't know what they're doing. I mean, it spells across the shirt right now. I don't know.
That's true. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely true. If only you guys knew how much work and organization was put into this event to like really get it to like run smoothly and like without as many hiccups as possible. It's really amazing. This community has come together and it looks like we might be getting into it.
Alrighty. Dragon versus ZAC. First match of day 2. Now the top 4. We are going to see just what happens after this match is all said and done. It's going to be interesting to see who takes home this one.
Yeah, this is going to be an absolute banger. As you can see, these best possible times, I believe this is the first and second best possible times in the community. So we really do have the best of the best plan. See how negotiations plays for these runners. This kind of sets the tone for RNG maybe for the run. I mean, obviously it doesn't influence anything, but can kind of get you in a different headspace if you have a bad negotiations. That really isn't your fault.
Right, yeah, in terms of negotiations, just one of those levels that you don't think about too much, but obviously when one thing goes wrong, it can lead to things to snowball over the span of episode 1. But I think once these runners get to pod race, it's going to kind of be interesting to see just how they will just not even think about what happened before it. I think pod race is really all they're worried about. It is the worry of the tournament, which last year it also was a pretty big concern, but this year I think it's less of one. So I think the fact that we've seen a huge spike in consistency with pod race with every runner, it's going to be interesting to see just how from here on out they're going to be able to perform it in general.
No, absolutely. Pod race is obviously the most important split of the run. In the meantime, though, the runners have been playing really well in this negotiation. Both of them had like different cases of heart counts, but both of them still played extremely well to like manage it and they're basically getting in here at the same time. Like maybe less than a second separates though.
Yeah, nothing too crazy from these two. I mean, it's a 208 and a 209 to start things off already, and I mean, getting an OX negotiations to start things off, that's a good way to set the tone, as I believe Dragon and ZAC are exchanging some words potentially, as we're going to just make sure that things flow smoothly today for Dragon, as of course yesterday we had a bit of technical difficulties, but yeah, hoping today that he reads the post-it note that is lying right underneath his monitor.
Yeah, absolutely hope that he does that. I mean, he's the thing about Dragon is he's kind of a robot when it comes to practice. He'll pick a segment and he'll grind it for hours, like just reloading the room, doing the same thing over and over and over until it's in his muscle memory ingrained. So as long as he just kind of like ignores that little muscle memory in Grievous, we should be fine there. Going into Invasion now, going to be focusing on this Invasion cutscene skip, and ZAC is actually having a slight bit of trouble, but does get under the floor, and that's really all that matters. So
yeah, ICS a very important trick. If you do miss it, it's about 30 seconds, depending on how slow you are to actually get to that Jar Jar cutscene. So good to see both runners at least hit it. Not going to be a huge difference between the two. Now it just comes down to the Jar Jar jumps, which are fairly precise, but not too difficult for either of these guys.
Yeah, definitely more trivial level than it used to be in years past. I mean, of course, there's still like more optimizations to be done. Like I believe neither of these runners will be going for the room 3 out of bounds strat that Anorak likes to go for, but that's more trouble than it's really worth. And actually, Zach gonna be missing that second Jar Jar jump. I think that was the second, like this is the second time he's done that. Like he did this yesterday as well.
I believe so as well. Yeah, he definitely is showing a bit of turbulence when it comes to this early game so far. I mean, it's really only been Invasion, but I guess, you know, can't really write home anything. Can't write home about anything that's gonna happen in Invasion. It's not a very, you know, make or break level in episode 1, but obviously it's one that you want to hit every trick on because, you know, if you miss even one thing, it loses a lot of time.
Yeah, Dragon hitting a really nice drop gymnastic there. I mean, this trick specifically like has undergone so much like variance, like and change in how it's performed. And at this point, I mean, you just saw Dragon and Zach do it, but it's probably as fast as I've ever seen it be performed. So it's really nice to see.
Yeah, and I guess as we head into Escape, we can kind of talk about just the fact that we are not going to be seeing double ground shots pretty much at all. I think maybe Justin might have gone for it yesterday. Yeah. I wasn't paying too close attention because that level, honestly, not too much to talk about when it comes to Escape. Obviously, a couple of tricky bits, but nothing that's too difficult at all.
Yeah, definitely not. And really, I just see this level as like now like a mental preparation for pod race. Like before, it was like you didn't even have to worry about pod race, but now with such difficult inputs being performed, you really have to lock in. So in this level, I think most players are just like thinking about what they're gonna like do, like react in pod race. So yeah, there's really not much to this level, like you said.
I mean, to give everyone some insight, Zach did actually kind of teach me how to do lap 3 for Godfraud, and since then I've had the trick pat down basically. I mean, I don't think I really miss it as much as I had initially missed it when I was starting to learn the trick. He really just hopped in my chat one day and just fixed everything for me, so he has a very good understanding of how the trick works. I think these runners might have slightly different setups for how they actually do the trick, if I'm not mistaken, which obviously we'll see that come lap 3, as lap 3 is really the hardest part of Godfraud. Lap 1 is a pretty easy pause frame, and getting the hype boost is not too bad, and backing it up is not bad either. It's just a matter of not going past that pod fraud out of bounds, which, if you don't go too far, you could actually back that up with a lap 2 Godfraud, which we've not seen in the tournament so far, I don't think.
I don't think we've seen. I think we've had people that could have gone for it, but they chose to exit the level, or they just didn't react in time. So we haven't actually seen that variant. Hopefully, we just don't see that at all for the rest of the tournament, because that it can be really demoralizing if you miss it. Because I think at that point you would have to restart the level, because I think you would lose the lap to Sebulba, and it's just not even worth continuing that attempt of pod race. So, but I mean, we can already see kind of a large gap growing because of that missed waterfall jump from ZAC, a 9-second lead for Dragon. Presumably should be about 9 to 10 seconds out of this escape as well. Yeah, we'll be finishing out here.
Yeah, very standard level Escape, just one of those levels that you just don't really have to think too much about once you're at that high level, as it's, like you mentioned, just preparation for pod race. And obviously, we are talking a lot about pod race, but assuming that both of these runners actually hit it, we might have to just think about what's going to happen in Theed and in Maul, because I think we've already seen a couple Theed moments happen yesterday. We saw it with Senor, I believe, missing Theater clip, if I'm not mistaken.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, very unforgiving trick if you do actually miss it in any type of way. So I don't think we'll see that out of either of these guys, but it is always, there's always a chance for stuff to happen in these no reset races.
Yeah, absolutely. There is just anything could happen. Like we've seen so many, like even in the Bricko Evan match, they both missed trash skip in the worst possible way that you could miss it. And that didn't end up mattering because they both missed it. But if Evan had hit that, then, you know, that could have made all the difference. So like, and really anything is possible after pod race. I mean, it really depends on the pod race. That's going to determine like the gap and what needs to be made up for one of these runners. But ideally, and what I'm hoping for, is that both runners just hit it perfectly, and then we're talking about the race as if nothing happened.
Definitely. And as you can see, Dragon just about to head into things here, as Anakin's going to be locking in this cutscene. And we'll see what this first pause frame looks like for Dragon. Pretty good pause frame. We're out of bounds. He should be able to recover this potentially. I think he's going to opt just to not do the trick, which did happen to Dragon yesterday, as ZAC does get a good pause frame. Is going to get out of bounds. Kind of an early pause, but should be a small hype boost, and he should be fine to hit it potentially.
Yeah, this looks really good for ZAC.
Yeah, that's a very standard looking lap 1. We'll hope he can just get across the canyon here. Dragon probably a little frustrated with himself knowing that he can hit this trick, but for some reason just having issues in the tournament so far in top 8.
Oh dear.
ZAC,
he's gonna get it. He's gonna get
getting
it.
perfect speed to catch up to the pod fraud spot out of bounds. Just almost went past it, but he had the perfect amount of speed there, so he's cruising so far.
Yeah, that was really good from ZAC. I can't even understate how good that was. Like, that literally lost no time at all. So I'm gonna be setting up the 0 death for ZAC. Yeah, he gets it.
And we'll see how this lap 3 goes for him in just a moment here. Ooh, that's an early. Yeah, oh, but he does do the pause buffer, so this is actually a perfect pause frame for him.
Wow.
And he gets the perfect height boost. Yes, that is absolutely perfect for ZAC. He is starting off with a banger of a pod race right now, hoping that he can just get across the canyon here, which he does. No issues at all for the undisputed GOAT of TCS.
Is this working for
ZAC?
Dragon?
Or, yeah, Dragon?
Yeah, he got it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Thankfully, Dragon hits lap 3 here as long as he can close out. Going across the canyon here, going to the extras a few times, but no harm, no foul there. And that should be good from Dragon, yeah. Really nice.
Yeah, no, I mean, despite the lap 1 issue, this is still a pretty tight race considering the lead that Dragon did actually have going into pod race. And as I mentioned, a little bit of variance on the pause frames for ZAC and Dragon. So
yeah,
it did show there as we both were a bit confused on Dragon's pause frame, but he did obviously show that he knows what he's doing. And there's a reason why he's in this match right now.
Yeah, and the race is actually much closer than I guess I thought it would be out of this level. I mean, Dragon probably losing 15 to 20 seconds off that lap 1 miss. It's going to be actually a 23-second deficit now in ZAC's favor, which is scary for sure, but Dragon has a lot of time that he can make up. Honestly, this is the kind of the worst matchup to be in because ZAC is also so proficient at the rest of the game that it's hard.
And ZAC, I was just taking a look at his cam, and he's just vibing out, waving to everybody. So he's feeling good right now, getting a 10:42 exit out of pod race. That is always a good feeling in a no reset setting, especially considering they did also have to save the game after negotiations. So they do actually lose a good bit of time, I believe around 6 seconds just from that alone to start things out. So a 10:42 is actually a really good exit considering the circumstances.
And he actually got a 2:55 pod race there, so that's a really strong time. That's really close to the best pod race of the entire tournament. Really had no major slowdowns at all. So yeah, this is probably the second hardest level in the episode 1 at this point. Dragon or ZAC getting a little bit awkward movement here on the theater, but he's gonna get out of bounds, no problem. So
yeah, Theed being one of those levels that has a lot of RNG moments to it, especially with this button room that ZAC is getting into in just a sec here. But these Druidicas can really cause a lot of issues if you're not careful. So the fact that ZAC is able to manage things cleanly enough here and get some good RNG as Dragon getting pushed by the Droidica.
He had a little bit of an unoptimal line getting Qui-Gon in front of the speeder, and that allowed the Droidica to actually push him out of the way. That's really unfortunate, but it is unfortunately his fault that happened. It wasn't any RNG. So a little bit shaky of gameplay coming out of Dragon here in this lead. And ZAC, actually.
Yeah, ZAC going into Theed 1 with 1 heart. Actually opts to slash Obi-Wan. I've not seen that before. Very good heads-up play by him. I know he's going to be probably just going for... is he going to go with simultaneous left side here? No, okay. He's going to actually wait for Obi-Wan to catch up.
Yeah.
And he's going to set up left side. A pretty precise trick, but nothing that he can't handle. First try, of course, for a guy that has seen this level too many times.
Yeah, he's been here a lot. He has probably some of the most attempts of the game of any other runner. He's been playing so long. Ooh, actually, he's struggling.
Ooh.
It's a little scary there, but he is going to be able to get out of this room no problem. Yeah, into the easier part of the level, Theed 2. Once you're familiar with that out of bounds movement, then there's not really much to say about this section. But
Yeah,
yeah.
Dragon, good heart count. Doesn't seem like he's going to be losing any time to ZAC here. He might actually be catching up at least a little bit, as ZAC does hit the Theed 2 out of bounds very nicely. And yeah, very standard stuff we're seeing in this Theed so far, because anything can go wrong in this level, really. I mean, the amount of runs people get here.
Oh, here it is.
And as we mentioned, very weird stuff that can happen within this level. And of course, you have to be very particular about which character you swap to there. So Dragon had to be very careful and swap to Obi-Wan just to ensure that he could actually get out of bounds here properly on his second attempt.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Panaka not actually bouncing behind the transition there when Dragon went to swap with him on Obi-Wan. So having to run after Obi-Wan because he's aggroed on the droids, then having to reset up the trick, that's going to be major time loss. And Dragon is now going to be extending his deficit probably closer to like 30, 35 seconds here, because ZAC has played pretty well in this Theed after his issues in Theed 1.
Yeah, ZAC actually hitting the Ewok skip that was found just in the midst of this tournament, or right before, I believe, and that's actually going to be huge for ZAC, finishing out this Theed with a very good time.
Yeah, I would be surprised. I think this is probably going to be like a high 3x, low 4x. Maybe not as good as a high 3x because of those slowdowns, but still a good time, respectable time on Theed for sure. And he looks pretty composed right now.
Yeah, Dragon almost shooting the droid on the right there, as I do believe he's going for the old setup with the force movement and the camera pan. So good to see him not accidentally kill that droid on the right, as I think that would only tilt him even more. I can't believe, or I don't think that he's not, or I think he's probably not in a great headspace, having had that lap 1 disaster as well as an awkward theater moment to start things out here in Theed.
And this is problematic for Dragon because this is what we described episode 1 as the only episode in which ZAC can really like build a lead and maintain, and that's kind of what's happening here. So if ZAC kind of like knows the deficit at this point, then that could let him play a little bit stronger going into the rest of the game, and I think he's actively keeping up with the stream. So I mean, but you can kind of see this deficit it's getting pretty large. I mean, this is a 34-second deficit.
Yeah, Maul can actually change things, though, as there are a couple 1 frames as well as a trick that does involve a good bit of RNG, as we already see him getting shot out of the cart and taking some damage, so he will be taking a death in room 1 of Maul.
Unbelievable.
And at least he doesn't have to die up at the top here to these droids, although I don't think a death anywhere in the level really matters, as they all lose the same amount of time, practically.
Yeah.
But he just has to ensure that he gets the right amount of studs here, which... Yet again, very scary heart count for ZAC, as he avoids every shot and gets a perfect stud count.
Yeah, he did collect that stud at the end there, unfortunately, so a little bit smeared on the stud count, but still very optimal. In the meantime, Dragon did miss that lamp jump 1 time, unfortunately, and also is taking a lot of damage in this room 1, so let's see if ZAC... Looks like ZAC might have got half Roger here. I'm not too sure. But yeah, he did.
Wow, yeah. I mean, honestly, I was expecting the full Roger skip there, but Dragon also on 1 heart. Oh, but takes the proper death. No. I mean, that's at the very least. Fine, yeah. At the very least, he does not fall all the way down and have to go all the way back. So honestly, a really good play by Dragon there, and he's actually at a pretty good stud count as well. He has the chance to actually get full Roger here with that stud count. So we'll see in just a moment after he takes all these deaths just how that pans out. But I mean, honestly, just so far, we've already seen some good heads-up plays from these guys, even if it was a bit of a flub on Dragon's end there. Which he does get full Roger skip, so Dragon saving a little bit of time to ZAC with that.
Yeah, that's much needed from Dragon. I mean, having those issues in the earlier sections of Darth Maul has made it a little bit harder for Dragon, but that full Roger is going to save like another maybe 3.5, 4 seconds, not having to kill those extra droids, so that's nice to see. And probably one of the first times we've actually seen a full Roger. I know we saw like 1 or 2 yesterday, but really, really important for Dragon.
ZAC hitting both cycle skips, and very impressive for him.
Wow.
A very, very tight window to actually hit those. So the fact that he got both is really impressive.
Yeah, and Dragon just unlucky. He actually dies on Obi-Wan when trying to slash the droideka. not having much luck, but I guess Zach also did die in room 1, not even getting to ride the cart for like a second. So the RNG is kind of equalizing here.
Yeah, and Zach doing a bit of force movement at the end there to actually save a tiny bit of time. I believe around 3 frames is what I've heard that force at the end actually save. But yeah, in terms of Dragon, as you mentioned, just one of those players that does not have a good early game, and we're gonna see if he's able to at least claw back sometime in episode 2, as he also hits full cycle skips.
Wow.
Very impressive showing from both of these guys so far. I think in pretty much every level, and just how they're able to recover from any mistake that happens.
Yeah, that's amazing. Both players hitting full cycle skips and also very quickly. So it's really impressive. I mean, this is why these are the 2 of the best players that we have to offer. A 1921 exit for ZAC out of episode 1. That's probably one of the better ones we've seen in the entire tournament. Definitely the best of top 8 so far, if I'm correct about that. But so that's really awesome to see. Really, his biggest problems were in feed and invasion, but he actually played really well in Maul and Pod Raiders. So really great to see that.
Yeah, episode 2 going to be a very... I think we're going to see a lot of stuff happen in this episode 2. It's one of those episodes where one small mistake and everything can kind of just fall apart. And it all starts with BHP, one of those levels that has some weird hitboxes with those lights in the light rooms. Most importantly, I think light room 1 being agreed upon that it's the more difficult of the 2 amongst most runners. And as we see at the bottom of the screen, Zach with a 72% chance to actually win this match currently. Dragon is going to have a lot of work ahead of him to actually ensure that he can actually get the win in this one. But right now, Dragon about, what is that, 44 seconds?
Yeah.
Behind. So
44.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work cut out for him, but it is not insurmountable for this guy.
Yeah, the thing about Dragon and Zach is they're so like good at the game, and they're not one to like let a lead slip. So Dragon's actually gonna just have to elevate his level like much higher than what he's playing right now if he wants to have any chance of coming back and saving time on multiple splits in a row to Zach, because Zach is he's just so proficient and technical about every aspect of the game, and he's just not gonna let you back in. He's not gonna make it easy for you at all. He's not gonna have like a minute-long disaster. He gave those earlier in the tournament, but I mean, he's really buttoned up his gameplay since then. So I really don't expect that at all. Yeah,
the only issue for Zach really being his Coruscant deaths that he's had, I think, practically throughout the entire tournament.
Yeah.
So while we have a runner behind us talking as that level plays on, we just have to hope that Zach does not take any deaths there, as that seems to be his biggest issue so far. That's really notable.
Yeah, that is the most consistent issue we've noticed from him, but I really would be so surprised if that happens again. I don't know. I don't even know how it's happened so many times in this tournament so far.
I guess you just go on autopilot and don't think about what you got to do sometimes. That's all I can really chalk it up to, but
yeah,
shouldn't be seeing that today, hopefully. But in terms of Dragon being on 215 paces a lot recently, he actually got so frustrated with the amount of paces he lost that he simply just didn't want to play until he got to top 8, is what I believe is the story. So yeah, Dragon, just a player that is so good at the game, but you know, this game can really just bring you down when you're at your best. So sometimes you just got to work past that mental barrier and the RNG aspect of everything, as we're seeing some clean Lightroom 1s from both runners as Zach is entering Lightroom 2. Dragon forgetting to shoot a torpedo, though.
That would have been really good if he had actually shot that last torpedo, but I think what had happened is it got, like, the ship got put in a way where he couldn't actually shoot the torpedo. Like, sometimes if anyone who's played this game, it would just won't allow you to shoot the torpedo if the ship's in the middle of a barrel roll or in the middle of any type of like action like this. So could have been the case for Dragon, and it kind of messed up his muscle memory, and kind of like he didn't even realize that it happened until he saw that the torpedo was still left on the ship. So
yeah, Zach just cruising through this BHP though as if it's nothing, nodding his head and wording along to the music he's listening to, as it's very similar to what we saw just not too long ago last night with Justin also bobbing his head. It seems as though if you're on the right side of the screen, you just got the good vibes flowing.
Yeah, seems to be the case. And we'll see Dragon going into this room 2 here. Really need him to perform a good one. Does take a death, not his fault, just happens due to the RNG of the level. Nice adjustment to hit that bottom right light for Dragon. But yeah, I mean, we're going to be going into Camino here, which is a little bit of a trick gauntlet, probably the most tricks in one level in episode 2. So gonna be important. I know ZAC has struggled on that Camino clip a little bit recently, so not expecting too much though in the ways of KBS or R4 fly. Those tricks pretty well ironed out at this point for these runners.
Yeah, ZAC going for R4 fly here. Trick that we've seen him have issues with in the tournament so far, but not an issue for him in the top 8 settings so far as well. I mean, yeah, this level Camino, I mean, you have to deal with the super jump. You have to deal with a couple of, or really just Camino clip towards the end. It's not too trick heavy in terms of the amount of tricks, but the trick difficulty is pretty tough.
Yeah, specifically this KBS Camino button skip, saving 7 seconds, I think, maybe a little more. And if you miss it, it's just like 10 down the drain. It depends on how you miss it. There's a way to miss it that doesn't lose that much time, but that looks really good for ZAC. So I'm not expecting that to fail unless he fails this fly somehow. But yeah, he'll be good there.
Yeah, Dragon setting up R4 fly. Let's see if he's able to hit it cleanly here, which is not a problem for him at all.
No.
Yeah, one of those tricks that you can kind of autopilot on, but for some it does, you know, the muscle memory can get lost just a little bit with how just weird, awkward and weird that camera can be at times if you set it up ever so slightly differently from how you do it normally. So good to see both of these runners not have any issues, as Dragon's going to be setting up for KBS in just a moment here.
Yeah, Dragon setting up that KBS. ZAC in that bomb room. So gonna see Dragon on this KBS. That looks good to me. Should be out of bounds. Well out of bounds for Dragon. I'm gonna have to adjust a little bit to the right to get that collision back on. So yeah, there we go. Dragon will be successful.
Yeah, strong showing from these two so far in this Camino. Nothing to really write home about, as this is just standard for these guys. Episode 2 just being one of those levels where, or Camino being one of those levels that you just really want to hit every trick first try, otherwise things spiral out of control. As we're going to be trying to take a look at ZAC's droid kill count here, because that really does matter for Jedi Battle. We saw yesterday Senor being on, I believe, seed 5. A very unorthodox seed count to be at, as ZAC kills no droids.
Yeah, none for ZAC so far. Getting that Camino clip.
Does not hit Camino clip as well.
Yeah, a little awkward now. Killing 1 droid, 2 droids now. 3 droids, I think it might have been actually. But it does finally get out of Camino clip. That's major time loss, and that's something for Dragon to take advantage of. Yeah,
at the very least for ZAC, he does at least get a really good seed with seed 2 or 3, but missing Camino clip, one of those devastating mistakes that can really lead to a lot of time loss. So good for ZAC to at least hit it on the second go around, but obviously with not having the ability to be at 1 heart, swapping from ghost hearts to no ghost hearts on P2, it's just going to lose him a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely going to lose a lot of time. And ZAC actually getting a little bit of iframes on Django there. Nothing too crazy. Didn't lose that much time, but that's 1 kill for Dragon on the droids. Really hoping that this is a successful attempt for him.
Whoa.
Would like to kill 1 more. There it is. No, 3 droids. I think that was 3 droids killed for Dragon, unfortunately.
Still a good seed count, though. I mean, 3 and 4 being very similar seeds. So shouldn't be too much variance for Dragon if he did end up killing 3 there. But yeah, hearing some pop-offs in the house for the predictions going on, I believe.
Yeah.
So good for the winners of this one at the very least.
Yeah, nice to see. But that's time save for Dragon, and most importantly on that Camino clip.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as we enter a sort of lull in this episode too. I mean, just how insane is it to be here in person, Mello?
It's something. It's like a dream come true. Joining the community 2 years ago, I could have never imagined I would be in this position, commentating the highest level of TCS any percent that we've ever seen in person in a tournament setting. It really is just such a pleasure to be here, especially with you as my duo. So
yeah, I mean, I haven't even I started learning the game basically a year ago. After the end of Ladder League Season 2, I started learning the game, and here I am at the top 8 house a year later, and I'm able to commentate with a person that I'd call a friend.
absolutely,
really,
bro.
and being able to just talk about TCS at the highest form. I mean, it's really incredible the amount of progression that has happened, not only with us two, but in terms of the community as a whole. With the tutorial coming out this year,
Yeah,
we're gonna probably see a lot of people after this tournament trying to grind and get a good time and potentially be like me and want to participate going into next year. It's really incredible the amount of work that has been put in to help this community grow, as we're gonna see ZAC enter Droid Factory in just a moment here as well.
yeah. It looks like both these runners were actually exchanging some words, talking a little bit about how the run's going for them so far. Nothing too crazy is really I mean, in the lap 1 miss for Dragon, then a little bit of issues in Theed, but otherwise nothing really crazy. Camino clip miss for ZAC. Otherwise, pretty buttoned down gameplay, really ironed out and proficient gameplay.
Yeah, Dragon being almost a minute behind out of that BHP does claw back some time to be about 42 seconds. I want to say 48 seconds. I can't do the math right now. I can never do math.
Yeah, that
I'm not a numbers guy.
I could do that for you.
As ZAC takes a death to Freddy as well. A minor time loss.
Yeah, a little bit of a minor time loss there.
So yeah, Dragon actually clawing back some time heading into this Droid Factory. I believe he... Oh my gosh, ZAC almost pushing R2 off the platform. Saw a small reaction from him as a result.
That would have been a little scary. I mean, he's coming up on this Pixel Bucket Fly. Not a trick we really expect him to miss at this point, but definitely still the opportunity to do so. But no.
Yeah, very clean from ZAC there. Obviously, clearing comms to ensure that he can actually hear that sound cue to ensure that he hits the trick first try. It's a very tricky trick, but once you get the feel for it, not too bad, as Dragon takes 0 damage from Freddy, so that's going to be an advantage for Dragon, hoping that he's able to hit Pixel Bucket at least first try.
Yeah, I mean, you really need to hit those bucket cycles most importantly, so hitting that trick first try is imperative. Otherwise, not only do you lose the time from actually missing the trick, falling down, having to fly back to the spot to reattempt it, but you also miss the bucket on the other side of the room that will take you up to the ending platform. So really costly trick to fail, and really only saves like 3 to 5 seconds, and that's going to be good for Dragon though.
And now that I think about it, Dragon not doing the trick for a while, I think it's because he has pause on the right D-pad, which makes things a little awkward for the setup in general.
Yes.
Now that I think about why he has not been doing the trick, that does actually make a lot of sense. The more I thought about it, ZAC getting a power up as well in the cave room, so he will be saving a little bit of time there. Does have to wait for R2 to get across, which is not super ideal, but nothing too major there.
Yeah, nothing major at all. I mean, I'm surprised ZAC actually ended up opting for that power up with how far out of the way it was, but that's fine. ZAC played a pretty good Droid Factory, all things considered. Did he die to Fred?
Yeah, he did take a death to Fred, so that is the one thing that we're going to be seeing a difference on. Dragon not getting the power up, so that might be the time save, basically. I wouldn't say exactly equalized, probably about a second's time save for Dragon, hoping that all things go well in the rest of this level. Which, yeah, he did. I didn't think he forced the platform all the way for a second there. That scared me. But he does get the instant warp there with R2, which is pretty strong.
Absolutely. Yeah, very strong gameplay from both players on this Droid Factory so far. A little bit more awkward of a warp, I'd say, for Dragon. Losing less than a second with that is what ZAC got, but still, I do think Dragon will end up having the better Droid Factory here. And definitely bodes well for this race. It is a 48-second deficit into this level. We'll have to see how that's changed after this Droid Factory.
Yeah, Jedi Battle being one of those levels that It's going to be pretty tough for both runners as there is a good bit of RNG just starting out really in this first pillar. You got to ensure that you aggro every droid properly, and ZAC getting practically a perfect pillar 1 to start things off.
Yeah, that was very ideal for ZAC on the deflex and just all the RNG that went into all those droidicas rolling towards him, dying at the proper times. And it looks like, yeah, he'll be doing the optimal pillar 2 strategy where you walk forward with Mace Windu and just have him deflect that droidica bullet back into it. So looking really good for him so far.
We'll have to wait a little bit for Padme to grab that power up, but this is looking really standard for ZAC at the moment. And yeah, I mean, just a strong start for him as we see Dragon entering pillar 1.
Wow.
Also a really good pillar 1 for him. ZAC going to be going for that camera pan skip as well. Does miss it as his setup might have been a little bit off. Potentially doing a different setup than what I learned, where you basically have the player 2 down to the left and you just hold up and to the right. So maybe ZAC just ever so slightly off of what he was trying to do there, as he does seemingly have seed 3.
Yeah.
And we will see what Dragon has in just a moment here as well, as he is heading to pillar 3. ZAC going to be going for that second camera pan skip. Does at least get it.
That's good.
And grabbing the power up in the process.
Unfortunately, though, actually Dragon was able to recover that really nicely on pillar 3. It looked like there was going to be a little bit of a mini disaster, but he'll be setting up that pillar 1 camera pan skip, or wave 1 camera pan skip, getting it actually. So going to be saving a little bit of time if he can hit this second one. Trying to see what seed he's on.
I believe he's on 3 as well. So both runners actually getting seed 3, despite the amount of droids being different in terms of the kills. I believe Dragon is not killing one of the
he
droids.
took a death on that bomb.
Doesn't realize that he didn't kill one of the droids back into the left.
Yeah, you're right.
He is just...
Should be right there, yeah.
I think the targeting, if my guess... I'm guessing he just didn't realize he didn't target the droid. I think he just assumed that he did.
Yeah.
And this game having some interesting targeting mechanics. Unfortunately for Dragon, yeah, I mean, we just saw him shoot the droid, barely even turning around. I mean, he is Padme barely turned to the left and actually killed the droid. So
yeah, that's so unfortunate for Dragon. I was looking like it was going to be a very good Jedi battle, or at least better than what ZAC got, but now it's going to be probably equal or worse than what ZAC ended up getting because of that.
Yeah, ZAC, I believe, at 319. So pretty good stuff coming from him. I'm actually just not good at... I can't do math. You're the numbers from here on out.
Okay. That sounds good. Yeah, 317 for ZAC. I mean, he really only missed that first wave camera pan skip and had a little bit of issues on the targeting in the waves. So no real big issues for ZAC, and still a 317. Not bad at all. I mean, that would have been a good time before the wave camera pan skips, but with those saving so much time, this is a little bit worse than you would have hoped for. But yeah, ZAC's deep in a gunship at this point. Already getting that exploding blaster bolts red brick and going for that second barrier scope.
Yeah, a level that Dragon actually has CG, and gunship being one of those levels that's just really hard if you mess one thing up, and especially that room 1, you want the cart RNG that is necessary to actually get a really fast room 1, which I believe is about a 46-second room 1, which it looked like ZAC had a really good chance of actually getting.
Yeah. That looked like a good time for sure. He does do the slower variant of the second barrier skip, where you do the barrel roll instead of like the 180, but that really is like negligible time save. So, and if anything, it's more of like a consistency thing if you choose to do that. So, and look at that, Dragon not getting RNG, blessing him, gets no heart drops, has to do a barrel roll, losing a little bit of time, but actually really well handled.
Yeah, all things considered, a good heads-up play by Dragon there, as the heart count is really what matters in that first room. But him managing to at least recognize the situation. Ooh, some interesting interactions there. With the, what is that, the Firestorm?
Yeah, that sounds somewhat correct.
Fire Strike?
I'm not much of a, I don't know ball when it comes to Star Wars.
I'm not a numbers guy or a Star Wars guy, so I can't really.
Jeez, how is this guy speedrunning in the game?
Dude, I don't know, man. I can't even get a sub 220. Anyways, gonna be heading into Dooku for ZAC here. Dooku skip being probably the most important trick that you need to hit in this episode, as missing it loses you around 25 seconds.
Yeah. I'd be so surprised if Zach was to miss Dooku skip here. So yeah, and he won't. A little bit of a fist pump there at the Dooku skip hit. Nice to see from him.
Yeah, Dooku being one of those levels that so long as you hit that first trick, it doesn't really matter how you do the rest of it, as losing time here is pretty just out of your control at times. There is a couple things you can do to make this level go even faster with the fast lightning cycles as well as fast barrels and getting that good RNG, but for the most part, Dooku being one of those levels that you kind of just cruise through without even thinking.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we'll see Dragon coming up on Dooku skip now. A trick that, I mean, everyone has their own setup for, so he's going to do something that I've never seen before, and it's still going to work. So we're in a good spot there. All right. I guess we have a little bit of a prediction going on for the barrels being forced here. So let's see what happens for Dragon here.
So we're going to start with that middle one.
Going middle. Gonna be getting a right barrel here.
So he won't be getting fast barrels in terms of the run sake. Actually, he will be, but he does get the left barrel. So yet again, more popping off going on within the house for these predictions. I hope the people in chat are very rich in their channel points. And yeah, betting being one of those fun things you can do alongside these runs with all the predictions going on. So please do bet your points when you're able to, if you so please, or at least if you're able to. I know there's some places that don't allow even betting with channel points.
Oh, that's true, yeah. And like Europe, right?
And ZAC with a 40:03 episode 2 exit.
Jeez.
One of the more impressive ones we've seen. Looks like he's actually
having some issues with the reset.
Maybe having some issues with the reset here. Hopefully he's able to figure it out, as Dragon is finishing up Dooku here. Gonna be slashing him up. Looks like ZAC was able to figure it out at the very least, so.
Yeah, I wonder if that will be deducted from his final time, or if they're just gonna include that into the final time. But he definitely lost a substantial amount of time there on the reset.
Yeah. But yeah, now we are entering episode 4. Yet again, another gauntlet of, or not yet another gauntlet of tricks, really the start of gauntlet of tricks that he's going to have to deal with, that both runners are going to have to deal with from the start of 4 till really the end of the run. I mean, the really only slowdown episode being episode 3. Not a lot of variance happening within that one, but one of those episodes that you're kind of able to just mentally reset yourself heading into that very difficult 5.
Yeah, very lucky that this speedrun has episode 3 in between episode 6 and episode 5, because if you had to play 6 straight into 5, it would definitely be much more difficult of a speed game. But that episode 3 is a really great, like, almost 20-minute reprieve if you include that Hoth opening cutscene to just really mellow out for the ending of the run. And
Say that again?
Okay. Mellow out, yeah, for the end of the run. So yeah, very nice that the speedrun exists like that. Yeah, 43-second difference entering this episode 4. It still is anybody's game. Dragon could absolutely play to such a level where ZAC makes some mistakes, has some slowdowns, and could bring this back for sure. So I'm really expecting ZAC to be fine in this episode 4. He's probably the best player in episode 4 at this point. But when we get into episode 6, that's really where Dragon could start making up some major time here, especially in Carcoon and Endor.
Yeah, speaking of that time, I think I could do the math this time. Dragon only 43 seconds behind heading into episode 4, so definitely achievable comeback if ZAC does make any issues here, or has any issues really throughout the entire episode. It's just a really tough episode, as you mentioned. It's one that you really have to stay focused for. So we're going to see if these guys are able to at least focus up there.
Yeah. I mean, we're in Secret Plans. This is just a 1P2C gauntlet. It's kind of the Kashyyyk of episode 4, but I would say this is much easier than Kashyyyk.
Yeah, it looks like Zach's actually having a good bit of issues with this new EBB strat. I think he's basically losing the time that he would have saved had he hit it properly. As Dragon facing both characters at each other. That was a funny looking pause frame.
Yeah, that was good.
That was kind of aura.
Yeah, a little bit of aura. I mean, I know Interact likes to play with the camera and like echo based, and specifically in that opening section of Secret Plans, and just like have the guys face them. But yeah, gonna be executing a little bit better on that room 1 strategy for Dragon.
Yeah, Dragon being one of the, I think, the founder of this strategy, if I'm not mistaken. So a little bit of an advantage for him having actually found this. And obviously, you know, with the amount of runs he's been doing, he's been able to get a lot of attempts under his belt with actually going for this trick in the first place. So a really good way to just show the difference between Dragon and ZAC in terms of how they've been handling the tournament. ZAC obviously focusing on the production side of things more so than the runs themselves. But in terms of Dragon, just being able to have all the time that he needs to prepare for this tournament, flying across seas to be here in person, both runners being 4 feet apart from each other, it's definitely interesting to just see how the dynamic is changing here from what we've already seen in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, the last time these two played in week 1, Dragon kind of took a pretty handy victory. I think it wasn't too far off for ZAC. I think he maybe got like a mid 18 and Dragon ended up getting that mid 17. But Dragon actually, or sorry, ZAC failing the super crane.
Yeah, a strat that you really don't see any runner at this level messing up at all. That's interesting to see out of ZAC. And really just one of those things that will give Dragon an opportunity to actually come back into the lead here.
Yeah, it's actually somewhat substantial time loss, roughly like 8 seconds lost to a failed attempt on that trick, I think, because it just takes so long to put that crane back down and grab 3PO when you're not in motion. So definitely good for Dragon. He hits it first try. Great to see. And he's playing consistent, playing well, trying to recoup this deficit. I think he knows where he is in the race, so compared to ZAC. So yeah, gonna see this ending 1P2C section. This is definitely the hardest part of the level. Managing these characters properly to get the camera pan skip as well as just the optimal lever pulling is important.
Yeah, really the only part of the level that matters being this end section is missing any one of these little strategies or just flubbing at all can really lead to a lot of time loss. Compared to really the amount of time you could be saving in this level, which Secret Plan's just, like you said, one of those 1P2C gauntlets, but not a lot of tricks to really lose time to. There's not a lot of precise stuff to really worry about. It's just this last camera pan.
Yeah, I think I've spoken about it with multiple people, but this level is literally like, it's a 6-minute level and there's like half of it is cutscene. Like you have the mid-tro cutscene, you have this 50-something second end cutscene, and you have like the minute or so, a minute something long opening cutscene. So
you could practically take a nap during it.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, you could probably be snoozing during the gameplay and not really lose much time. So definitely one of the easier levels in the game, and it's actually really nice that you open out episode 4 with this level to get the hands warm for Junlin. That is the more potentially disastrous level in this episode.
Yeah, Junlin just having all those really precise tricks that you just have to get first try. I mean, every trick you have to get first try, but especially Junlin does. Any mistake is really disastrous for the entire level.
Yeah, I mean, this is as much of a trick gauntlet as there is in this game. Well, you start off with one of the harder tricks in the game, actually, a 1P2C trick called Slow Force, where the objective is to get Luke Skywalker out of bounds and maintain him out of bounds so that he can get to the Fast Force Red Brick quicker than you would normally be able to with Obi-Wan. And then going into that BBJ, just a little bit of a kind of a feel-based trick. Takes a while to get down, but at this level, of course, not going to have much issues. And then that Sandcrawler section can be very challenging as well. So this is going to be a very important split. And the lead is actually shrunk to only 37 seconds for ZAC. So he's gonna need to play a little bit better if he wants to maintain this lead.
Yeah, I mean, I think episode 4 being one of Dragon's strong suits, if I'm not mistaken, he's just really proficient in these original trilogy episodes in general. I think he's just really put in all the work necessary to actually get good at these levels. And we'll see in just a moment here if ZAC is able to hit Slow Force successfully, as he is out of bounds with Luke right now. He is going to be getting the out of bounds movement necessary to get the red brick in just a moment here.
Yeah, the hard part of the trick is definitely done for ZAC at this point. Once you get to this section, it's really just a matter of holding right and panning that camera on the controller. So shouldn't have any issues.
Yeah, Dragon going for the out of bounds now. Also gets the out of bounds movement perfectly fine with Luke. Just needs to grab that red brick and should be out of room 1 just fine. And the RTA difference here, it's looking like Dragon and ZAC are really not that far apart at all.
Yeah, RTA, they're definitely not that far apart, but of course those loads have to be accounted for. Otherwise, oh, Dragon, yeah, you need to grab that brick before we drop out. Thank you. That it was almost a disaster, but thank God he recognized he needed to grab the brick. And ZAC actually struggling on BBJ, hitting it, I think, 2nd or 3rd try.
Yeah, BBJ having some issues throughout the tournament with multiple runners. Just one of those tricks that if you don't warm up a little bit, you are gonna have some issues in a no reset setting. We'll see how Dragon's able to fare with it. You know, he missed it about 5 times yesterday, missing it once already. Does get on the 2nd attempt, so pretty similar stuff from both runners here.
Yeah, very similar, and I have to see how the rest of the Sandcrawler goes. I know ZAC was having some issues in here yesterday versus Senor, so I'm gonna hope to not repeat that. This is the room where all the mistakes were coming through for ZAC. Just gotta hope that all these Jawas end up biting the dust so that we can get R2 on the panel, and that is what ends up happening.
Yeah, ZAC actually finding a new 2 controller optimization in this room with Laser when they did their co-op run, but not opting to go for it here, as 2 controller can be a little tricky for somebody that's been doing 1P2C with a keyboard and a controller. So not stuff that we're going to be seeing, I think, pretty much at all here, as any little time save does not matter in the grand scheme of things when it comes to this tournament. It really matters what you can do consistently. Speaking of, ZAC doing quicksand 1 first try very fast as well. He's going to go for bone bridge skip, gets it first try as well. Very good stuff coming from ZAC in this room.
Yeah, and ZAC's not really letting up here. He did fail that BBJ 1 time, but otherwise really no mistakes at all. And Dragon is not having many issues either, so we're just seeing some of the best gameplay we've ever seen in a tournament setting out of these 2, especially on one of the harder levels in the episode.
Yeah, these
amazing.
Yeah, these 2 only being about a room apart, as Dragon hits bone bridge skip first try as well. Really impressive stuff we're seeing right now as ZAC is setting up speeder clip. Very, very textbook stuff we just saw from him, aside from that BBJ miss. So very impressive Junlin coming out of ZAC there.
All right, gonna be getting into Mos Eisley spaceport. For those unfamiliar, we do have one of the more interesting tricks in the game in this level called fry skip. We use a strategy called P3 glitch in order to get 3PO kind of locked in a state of movement where he can hit the ending Falcon trigger, and we do that either in the first room or in the pre-cantina section. So we'll make mention of it when it's noteworthy, but more importantly, we do have a prediction for Dragon's heart count at the end of this level, which really matters much more than the state of the race. So we're definitely going to make sure to give note of that.
Yeah, I'm betting the house right now.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be probably all in on a good heart count for Dragon here. I'm liking 2 hearts for him. But yeah, I guess the BPT difference is actually really noteworthy here. ZAC still has a minute of BPT difference to Dragon. 37 seconds. They literally played the same on that level. They both got 48. So that's actually kind of absurd.
Yeah, as if the race couldn't be any closer. I mean, really the only thing being just a couple flubs from Dragon in episode 1. Since then, it's been a really similar looking race from these 2. As ZAC hitting player 3 glitch first try and getting that speeder clip first try to finish out that room 1 very nicely, as it's going to head into Cantina. Dragon, one of the runners that actually opts not to go for the room 1 player 3, but so fast with the player 3 in the pre-cantina that it honestly doesn't really matter how he does it, as he's just that good at the game.
Yeah, he's that good at the game, and unfortunately for ZAC, he got a little bit unfortunate RNG on these civilians that spawn. Dragon not getting the best of RNG either, so I do think that ZAC is going to have the faster spaceport because of that room 1 difference to pre-cantina, but that was still really good from Dragon. But we're coming into the more important part of the level as we get out of this pre-cantina section. When we get into that end room, have to be very cognizant of Dragon's heart count. I'm going to be eagle-eyed on the top left of the screen.
Yeah, I'm itching to see what happens here. I'm really excited.
Yeah, this is probably... I probably care more about my points hitting here than the outcome of this race.
But yeah, Spaceport, one of the what am I trying to say? The more obsolete levels, I think, as Spy Fight Skip just being obsoleted entirely. One of the more like demanding tricks of the run, as missing it can lose you a load of time, but now we don't even have to worry about it. It's just not even a trick that is in the mind of any runner that is learning the game now.
Yeah, no. This trick is, when I was first starting to come into the game, you had much more gameplay to do. There's like 3 more rooms worth of like three more rooms to play.
And I will
we're coming
pause
up
you
on
real
it.
quick as we do look at Dragon's heart count being 3.
He doesn't know he needs to kill this trooper. Oh, thankfully he does. And that's major.
And a reaction from the spillover room as some people are winners and some are losers.
You can really tell a difference based off who's popping off and who's not.
Yeah, Evan and Anonymous seemingly having 3 as Senor being an unlucky guy as well as Hav. So
Dang.
unfortunate for those guys, but fortunate for the winners. So
absolutely. And yeah, that's going to be 308 spaceport for ZAC. Really well done from him. Not too far off community gold. Actually, community gold nowadays is like sitting around 305 or something, right?
I believe at 306, if I'm not mistaken.
So yeah, that was about as good as it gets.
Yeah, I just lost all my channel points, but we're gonna look past that as we head into Princess here. Princess being just one of those levels, I mean, really just the Death Star levels, just being a really difficult set of levels that involve helmet management as well as making sure that you kill pretty much all the enemies that you need to.
Yeah, these have been 2 levels that have been really problematic for some of these runners so far in the top 8. I mean, Anorak yesterday losing so much time across these 2 levels, and even Bricko and Evan yesterday both failing that trash skip in the worst way possible, like we said earlier. So this is really where the race could change hands if Dragon can somehow put together a really nice Princess and DSC, and ZAC has some type of fumble. Would really be good for Dragon and really make the race much more interesting and closer than it currently is. Yeah, ZAC not going to be opting for that Han out of bounds here. Really doesn't save that much and is much more risky to attempt. Justin really the only big proponent of that one.
Ooh, interesting jumping from ZAC there. I did think he was going to pop in for a second with Obi-Wan, but he knows his height, so doesn't have to worry about it too much. Dragon going to be going for the out of bounds in just a sec here. See how ZAC is able to hit this red brick as he grabs it, as Dragon also hits the out of bounds, so just simultaneous out of bounds for both players there as they do a different set of tricks.
Yeah. ZAC doing that backup shot, guaranteeing that Obi-Wan will be showing up, and he does.
Very fast Obi-Wan. Didn't even have to go for that backup shot in the first place, but obviously in a no reset setting, just trying to make sure that you don't lose any extra time.
Yeah, these runners are just playing so well right now. It's really beautiful to see, like barely any mistake, and really like just like such good gameplay since episode 1 from both of them. Really no major slowdowns, like we've said. Obi-Wan there for Dragon has to shoot that Imperial Guard, or Imperial Officer rather.
Yeah, no pilot spawns for ZAC there. Those being an issue for at least one runner yesterday, as that can be a very devastating time loss if you do lose your helmet once in this level.
Yeah, losing the helmet here is one of the more disastrous things that can happen in the run, and we'll have to see if it does happen here for Dragon. Yeah, but he's fine actually, so no issues at all.
Yeah, no troopers left alive in any of the first rooms, so good on Dragon as well as ZAC for not having to deal with that in the first place. Both players also doing Han out of bounds, or not Han's out of bounds, but Han player 2, which saves at least a little bit of time in that panel building room that Dragon's just about to enter.
Yeah, and while we were talking about Dragon, ZAC has literally been cruising through the level. No pilot spawns, no issues getting across that bridge with both players, and he'll be getting a really good time here. They're both going to get a really good time here. So this is what I was saying earlier. ZAC is not going to leave much time on the floor for for Dragon to recoup. So this is it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Dragon not getting that good episode 1. And ZAC is very cognizant of the fact that he's ahead by a good margin.
Yeah, I mean, heading into DSC, that's really all he has to do is just keep that lead. I mean, it really starts with trash skip, and from there, it's a matter of just ensuring that we don't mess anything else up, as losing that helmet can be very costly.
Yeah, and Dragon, for some reason, changing those resolutions. We do not need to be changing those resolutions. Getting through to the refresh rates, thankfully. So we're going to be on 40 hertz here. Hopefully that doesn't affect the players too much. But this is the biggest swing level we've seen so far at top 8. DSC, got to be very locked in for this trash skip pause frame. And then, of course, the transition hit afterward. All right.
Alrighty, ZAC heading into trash skip here. I believe he's going to be going for Han out of bounds, a very unorthodox way to do the trick, but one that he has gotten all too consistent, as we can see, very quickly getting out of bounds there and doing a nice little jump roll to even save a little bit more time with that out of bounds movement.
Yeah, the biggest save here is this little dive roll that you do across the side to get a little more distance. So he'll be potentially getting up here. It's a little bit scary, but he will get there. And that looks like a good pause frame for Dragon as well.
Yeah, Dragon getting out of bounds as well. Just has to hit that transition and really close to popping inbounds there, but
yeah, he's scaring me a little bit. But
once again, these players just knowing their heights, so not an issue for him. As he's going to head to the transition in just a second here.
I think the best thing about this Han out of bounds strategy compared to the Chewie out of bounds is the fact that you can go for rip more skip on Han, and if you miss it, you don't actually lose the helmet. You just you lose the time for failing the trick, but you don't lose the time for having to get another helmet. So could definitely see more people picking this up in the future.
And ZAC is going to be setting up for rip more in just a second here. Pretty low, but he does actually get out of bounds, which is all that really matters. And despite Han having no helmet, these troopers do not care.
Yeah, they are not aggressive towards the fact that Han has no helmet there. And yeah, Dragon gonna have to hit this rip more if he wants to stay on par with ZAC. Really just waiting on a ZAC mistake for Dragon to really get back into this.
Yeah, if a mistake presents itself, I'm sure Dragon will be quick to jump on it, as mistakes are far and few between these two. And we've really just seen a tight race despite the deficit so far. I mean, assuming that, you know, Dragon at least hits lap 1, this would be a 20-second difference. Or lap 1 in pod race, I should say.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, Dragon... I mean, the thing about this match for the mental is ZAC is very cognizant of the fact that he needs to not lose. Like, if he does lose any time, if he does make mistakes, then Dragon is going to be capitalizing. But for Dragon, it's like, I have to play near perfect to come back into this, which he's not really.
The only flub I've seen in this DSC so far is that little awkwardness in Ripmore room, as Dragon could not hit the transition, but aside from that, very standard stuff from these two. And yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see who is willing to give a little crack in the door, as ZAC misses the transition, something that he is shaking his head at, as that is a mistake that is not made by many people at this point.
Yeah. The middle of that third line is where you want to be. I think he was a little too high. So unfortunately missing that. Where the Falcon door would be if it was actually there, but of course we deload it, so it's not even there. So we just dive where it would be. A really fun strategy that we employ in this run. Really nice from Dragon. And we'll be going into Rebel attack.
Yeah, just another ship level that really you just have to worry about your torpedoes on. I mean, we saw it with BHP earlier, and here, I mean, Dragon did have some issues with those torpedoes, hopefully able to at least manage them a little bit better this time around on the next level that presents that opportunity for him. And Rebel attack not really being one that we can be seeing a lot of time loss on, but that's standard for ship levels in general, as it's very easy to... You can't really save a lot of time in them in general. They're pretty standard levels, to be honest, so I don't think we're going to see any lead change here at all, as Dragon's just about 40 seconds behind ZAC here, heading into this one, and that's halfway through the run almost. And I mean, from here on out, it's going to be the gauntlet right after this with Jabba's through Endor.
Yeah, really very little has changed in this episode 4. No major mistakes from either runner. ZAC may be a little less clean. Like, I think the lead is now only 39 seconds. It was a little bit over 40 when we started this episode 4. So a lot of the same stuff happening on both runners' screens. I mean, I guess for ZAC, he did only grab 2 torpedoes on the Y-wing, but that doesn't really make a huge amount of difference here.
Yeah, just needing to get out of this first room, so does have the perfect amount of torpedoes needed for that, as he's getting some clean targeting with these torpedoes in room 1. We'll see if Dragon is able to hit a nice little dunk here.
Would be nice for him.
Does.
Very good. And that's a little bit of time saved for Dragon on that room 1. I don't believe ZAC got that done. All right. Yeah, Dragon playing really well. I mean, that's the thing about Rebel Attack is we've seen issues on it in the ladder league in the regular season, but that's really with blanks. There's not really a whole lot of crazy hard gameplay at hand here. It's really just blanking on these TIE fighters or just not targeting properly that's going to really lose you.
As well as the out of bounds that ZAC actually just hit. I think that's the only part that has been a real issue for some runners. And I think yesterday we saw, I believe, Jared actually dying on that first barrier in room 1, which,
that's true.
You know, the timing of can be a little weird and really just, it's a variable you have to consider in terms of how fast the torpedoes are moving within that room 1. But Dragon and ZAC both hitting that out of bounds first try very cleanly. And this is looking like a very typical Rebel attack.
Yeah, 2 textbook Rebel attacks. Probably both going to get 2 X's here, which is, it's pretty hard to do actually. So definitely commending them for that. And commending them for just playing really, like, this has been really tight gameplay. Really some of the best we've seen. I mean, 2:15:20 BPT and 2:14:25 BPT out of episode 4 roughly. It's going to be a little bit different, but that is just insanely high levels of gameplay to be at in our top 8 semifinal 1 match. So
yeah, and to recap what's going on in this race so far, it's basically just been Dragon trying to catch up to ZAC, as Dragon's just been making a little bit more mistakes than ZAC, and when you're going head-to-head with 2 of the best runners here, any mistake is very costly. So Dragon is just waiting for a chance to actually break back ahead of ZAC, as ZAC actually blanked a torpedo.
He didn't even shoot. He did a barrel roll instead of shooting a torpedo.
Oh, I see. Okay. I thought he had 3, but maybe I'm mistaken. But yeah, in terms of this race, it's basically just been a catch-up game for Dragon, which is really hard to do at this level of gameplay.
Yeah, Dragon will be getting that torpedo. He actually played a much better end room than ZAC, so he should be saving maybe 5 seconds here on Rebel Attack, which is probably the most he's saved in a single level since, like, episode 2. So really nice to see.
As we head into Jabba's Palace, we do actually have a prediction for sentry jumps, so please do predict your points if you want to potentially win all your points back, assuming that you lost just like me. I'm betting 10 on none because I'm a little mad.
You gotta bet 10, huh?
Yeah. Quick look at the setups we got going on here. The feelings, you can feel the energy within this room that the runners are in. It's very tense, as ZAC just waiting for the screen to really just let him play the game again.
Yeah. Feels the aura for sure. So... And it's actually down to 34 seconds. It was exactly 5 seconds that Dragon ended up saving in that Rebel attack. So really nice to see there.
But yeah, both runners getting a 106, a very impressive exit out of episode 4 in a no reset setting. ZAC, I mean, almost getting a 105. He's trying just a little bit too hard, and for this, I really don't like how hard he's trying for my prediction. But, you know, at least for him, he's very strong. Very strong showing from ZAC here, and Dragon not too far behind.
All right. Yeah, and you can take a look at Dragon here. Just trying to maintain a good mental space, letting the camera know he's good. As soon as an opportunity presents itself, he's going to be taking advantage, and he's not out of it yet at all. So This race is anyone's to win. And yeah, we'll be getting into Jabba's shortly. Episode 6, the hardest of the episodes, really just because of 4 levels. So
yeah, and we'll see in just a second here for prediction's sake if we're able to at least get 1 sentry jump. I hope both runners miss it, man. I need my points, man.
oh my goodness.
I need to build my points, man. As ZAC is entering Jabba's palace here. This first jump, I mean, if you miss it, it's really devastating. Slower than just going for the casual strats. ZAC missing sentry jump.
Oh my goodness.
So anyone that bet 2 is looking not so good right now.
Yeah, he might have actually bet on 1 and purposely missed it.
He's rigging it, I swear.
I really doubt that is the case. Dragon now has an opportunity to save a good amount of time if he hits this sentry. And he does. That's wonderful.
One believer's winning their points here. Very strong for Dragon. And more importantly for Dragon, just a chance to really save some time to ZAC. As Jabba's is just one of those levels that you really want to save time on. There's a lot that goes on in terms of RNG, and to start things off with hitting sentry jump, that's really strong and really good for Dragon.
Yeah, that's wonderful from Dragon. Much needed. And we're going to actually, see those instances of RNG that you spoke of in this next room for the spider full. Looks like ZAC getting the 3rd best spider here, the one that goes down left. A little bit less optimal than you would hope for. So Dragon going to have to either get a better spider or the same to really hope to save some time here. And he'll actually be getting one of the worst spiders you can get, going all the way to the right here. But it actually does have a favorable bounce and comes a little bit back down towards him.
Had that spider gone to where that buildable was, it would have actually been the worst spider, and he'd be losing 1 to 2 seconds about instead of just not doing the trick in general. So at the very least, I believe Dragon breaking even with doing normal strats and popping up so high. Just one thing that he loves to do with this strat, but obviously it's what works for him and why he's here now. I mean, Jabba's just one of those levels that you really have to grind down to its finest details, as there's just so much time to be saved throughout.
And I believe he actually golded this level by a pretty large margin yesterday, so to repeat that performance would be really good for him here. He did get a slightly worse spider this go around, so probably not going to be as close to that gold.
But a second try droid avoid, so
wow.
At the very least, Dragon is kind of cruising and really catching up to ZAC here. Just they're about to be in the same room, and we'll see if Spiderless is going to play a role here and Dragon potentially taking a lead as ZAC misses it first try.
Oh wow, that's major. And if he keeps missing this, this is going to be really concerning. Dragon could potentially have the lead LRT, but no, ZAC is going to hit it there. Dragon being very careful to set it up here. He needs to hit it here, but he doesn't. And that's actually really important. Dragon going to be stuck on Spiderless, getting it second try, going for that auto dropout now. That was very interesting. I believe Dragon will have come out of that positive, despite missing that first attempt.
But Dragon actually making it a bit tighter of a race than what it was looking like in the previous level. So at the very least, Dragon just taking advantage of some of the time save ZAC is leaving on the table, as we're going to see how this Rancor fight goes for both of them. ZAC not really getting a fast grab from the Rancor. We'll see if Dragon is able to get it. Could be huge for him. He does.
Wonderful from Dragon, and the force push on the C-3PO to get him closer to R2 to swap. It's really nice to see Dragon hitting that sentry jump, getting second try Spiderless, second try droid avoid. He hit that spider full first try. So that's wonderful to see. Dragon definitely saving time here on Jabba's.
Yeah, we might actually see a lead change within this episode 6, assuming that the trend continues with ZAC losing some time and Dragon just taking advantage of that time. So heading into Carcoon, definitely one of the harder levels in the entire game, with some very precise jumps at the very start, as well as just the first room in general. I mean, we're gonna just have to see how each runner handles that first room, as there's a lot that can happen in that first one. But Dragon being one of the runners that is really proficient in that last room in Carcoon, despite whatever RNG comes his way.
Yeah, very adaptable is Dragon. And what was that actually from ZAC? A 608 Jabba's. That's going to be losing a lot.
Yeah,
and oh my goodness. That's major time save for Dragon. He's only 21 seconds behind now after getting what looks like a 555 compared to a 608. So that's 13 seconds of time save for Dragon.
That is huge for Dragon. And one thing to note as we head into Carcoon here is that ZAC does play on a much wider monitor than what he is playing on currently. He normally can see the pixel for Pixel Disco very cleanly, but unfortunately for his case, he actually can't really see it as easily on the monitor that he's currently on, which both players playing on the setups they were on yesterday. But I think Dragon playing on a different PC, if I'm not mistaken, to avoid any potential technical difficulties. But in terms of ZAC and Dragon, they are playing on basically the same exact setups they just were. So some familiarity for these runners. Maybe ZAC learned to adapt and potentially even practice this trick right before the match started. We'll see how it goes for him once we get to that room.
Yeah, this is going to be an important level. Carcoon was much harder back in the past, but now it's at such a point where it really just is all skill. It's all in the runner's hands, besides the end room, I guess. So really nice from ZAC, though, in this first room so far.
Having a bit of issues killing Boba there, as he did take a weird fly, as Dragon is going to get a quick kill. So
wow,
both in the same cutscene now. Not a very long one, which means that the lead might even be a little shorter, considering that Dragon did not have any issues killing Boba fast.
Yeah, he had a much more fortunate RNG case with Boba. Boba ended up flying a little bit farther away for ZAC, which caused him to lose time on that shot. So, but yeah, ZAC on 1 heart here. It's actually not going to matter. He doesn't end up dying on this first out of bound or outside section, I should say.
It's like Dragon just calling it a little late on Han. Thought Han did not actually jump across, as ZAC gets topless first try.
Wow. Wasn't able to actually get that shot in the camera pan, so gonna have to take that death, and missing topless once. This could be worrisome for Dragon if he doesn't end up getting it, but he does get a second try, so that will be good for Dragon.
A chance for Dragon to potentially catch up once ZAC reaches Pixel Disco room, though. We'll see in just a moment here if he's able to adapt to his situation, considering he's not on his monitor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Look
ZAC,
how close he is to the monitor.
Yeah,
and
ZAC
will get it.
He did adjust to his situation, and we'll see if Dragon is able to at least hit it first try. Potentially fast. A little hard for us to see the pixel, but we'll assume that his judgment is right.
Yep.
Which it is.
Maybe a little bit faster than what ZAC was able to do, but nothing major. And it looks like they're playing pretty similarly on this Carcoon. I mean, Dragon having that missed intentional death on the outside section, where ZAC having a little bit of struggle on the Boba fight. So, yeah, basically breaking even here.
Yeah, ZAC getting a bit of an unfortunate couple spawns with these guards, but they're not even aggroing Chewie, so actually pretty good RNG. They weren't a moment ago, but and Dragon, yeah, no, he actually, yeah, I honestly I think that sometimes when you kill that second guy, he could get like more spawns, but I don't know what I'm talking about. As both runners entering the end cutscene here.
Wow.
Very close race we're getting, despite the deficit that was there throughout episode 4.
Yeah, Dragon actually playing that end platform much better than ZAC. He didn't have to slow down pushing that left box at all with Chewie. He didn't have any guards shooting him. He was able to fully push it, and he actually pushed it such as that it went right into the slot, whereas ZAC had to go below the box and push it back into that section. So I would imagine Dragon definitely saved time there to ZAC on Carcoon. Yeah, ZAC getting a 27 on Carcoon, whereas, or sorry, ZAC getting a 27, Dragon getting a 26. Yeah, 1 second saved there for Dragon. That's insane.
So yeah, only a 20-second difference halfway through the gauntlet. That is episode 6. We'll see just how speeder goes for both of these. I know speeder's kind of been an issue for a couple runners in the top 8 settings so far, as some people just not getting the timings right in terms of jumping out of the AT-AT with Leia, or taking some unfortunate deaths on that end platform with Luke, and even some deciding to swap for some reason after room 1. But ZAC hitting the most important jump to set the tone for the speeder.
Yeah, the flower jump is probably the hardest trick in the rest of the run. So thankfully we were able to get through that with no issues. So gonna see how these, I'm pretty sure both these runners have adapted to the Leia and the AT-AT in the ending section here. So gonna be expecting some type of 4x on this speeder showdown for these runners.
Yeah, speeder skip being one of the more important skips in the game. ZAC getting it very cleanly. Hits the transition on the way down past the gate, which might be a little slower as Dragon takes a death with both players, losing him about 4 seconds.
Is that even... Wow, that was...
Wow, a very weird looking setup for speeder skip there. Does at least hit the transition, so he's at least past that skip despite the issues he had starting with it.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate for Dragon. His player 2 immediately died when colliding with the wall at the beginning of the trick, and then he died on Luke on P1 when going into the barrier as well. So.
And I'm looking at Zac's screen, and he's actually not doing the Leia strat.
Oh.
So assuming that Dragon, which it does look like he's going for, is actually potentially going to save time to ZAC here, even though he did lose that little bit of time on speeder skip.
Yeah, this does actually save a very, like, interesting, like, it saves more than you would actually think just by swapping players. So
I believe it's about 2 seconds or so.
Yeah. It is kind of scary for Dragon, though. He either needs to kill these troopers and not die, or he just needs to die sooner. But yeah, this is actually going to be perfect for Dragon now. Yeah,
so despite the time loss that Dragon was already facing, he will now be at least saving a little bit of that time to ZAC. So keeping, not saving to ZAC exactly, but in terms of the time loss, it'll be a little less than what we seen initially with that speeder skip deaths, or with those speeder skip deaths. And we're now entering, well, allegedly I found one of the tricks on this level at the very start, according to Anonymous yesterday, which I don't know where he got that source, that info from. I don't know what source he got it from. But Endor being one of the hardest levels in the game, really just a 1P2C gauntlet with a ton of precise tricks, most importantly 12 button, as well as hitting Paul, and the bunker being a really difficult section of the level. And we'll see how both of these are able to handle it, as I know I had to help at least one runner yesterday with their setup on 12 button skip because of just how different it feels for everybody.
No, for sure. This trick can definitely be a great struggle point. I believe both these runners were really good at hitting it. Actually, Dragon, I think, struggled a little bit on that second gate yesterday, if I'm not correct.
Yeah.
But in terms of that speeder, Dragon ended up getting a 57, which is actually 7 seconds slower than what ZAC ended up getting. So not the best. And it will actually make the deficit up to 27 seconds now. But
only about 42 seconds off in terms of best possible time, so this is still a very close race with about 2.5 episodes left to go. ZAC going for the strat that I, again, allegedly found. I don't know who told Anonymous this, but
yeah,
lots of misinfo going around the community right now. As we will see how the rest of the level goes. I mean, ZAC missing rail flies.
Oh, wow. That's major,
on the second one. He takes a death.
Oh, no. And this is actually compounding. ZAC is looking a little frustrated on the player camera, and Dragon is now basically tied with him RTA. He's a little bit behind him, but that is actually major, major time loss on one of the easier tricks in Endor. Hopefully that doesn't compound for him and make it so that he loses much more time in the rest of this level. That would be disastrous for ZAC and his chances of actually getting into this grand final.
Yeah, I mean, an Ewok blessing for Dragon here could potentially give him the tie/lead here.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. Yeah, and that's something completely out of both runners' control. So, and look at that. Look at how close we are on the screen now.
Yeah, no blessings for ZAC. We'll see if Dragon gets lucky, which he does not. So Dragon's still going to stay a little bit behind, but this 12 button skip is more important than anything else we've seen. ZAC having some issues just even swapping characters right now.
Wow.
Really awkward hill roll jump as he does eventually get it. Dragon...
Dragon had the same mistake.
Yeah, so both runners kind of just having a good go at things here in this room. We'll see how things go once they actually get to the gate itself, the first gate.
Yeah, this is absolute cinema right now as ZAC is attempting the first gate right now. That looks a little scary on Leia, but he does end up getting over. Dragon is right over there. ZAC getting second gate first try. And Dragon
also getting first try.
Unbelievable from our one seed and our 4 seed here in Ladder League. Just completely unfazed, I guess, by what happened earlier in the level. And both of them hit first try on every section of 12 buttons skip.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff we're seeing at the moment as these guys are really neck and neck at the moment. RTA, we'll see if they're able to hit pulse skip cleanly, potentially maybe even avoid deaths, assuming that they're at any awkward heart count with P1 or really P2, as P1 does have ghost hearts for both players. I think Dragon had some issues with pulse skip earlier, or yesterday, I should say. Yes, a bit early, I think, on that camera pan.
Yeah, not the worst case, though. I think they actually both, yeah, I mean, that's fine for both players.
Basically equal for both. And now we'll see if the bunker can really change things up here.
Yeah, that I'm really looking at that third camera pan skip. That is the thing that usually will separate just a good bunker, an average bunker from a great bunker. So, oh, and Dragon not actually getting on that left button with Chewie, so can't overlap. That's actually major time loss.
Yeah, he could have.
Dragon.
He could have actually backed it up with overlapping these two buttons, as he's having some issues even touching it. Buttons being a bit tricky sometimes with their hitboxes. Yeah, the left side of this bunker is really, you really want to make sure you overlap at least 2 of those buttons together, and it's not looking good for Dragon, but these camera pans can change the way things look for him.
Yeah, and he's looking a little frustrated. Hopefully not letting that affect his right side of the bunker here, because that's where the more time can actually be lost for sure in this bunker. So gonna have to play composed here. ZAC doesn't end up killing that trooper on the other side of the wall. Very important that he didn't do that. Gonna get that D aggro into the lever pole. Really nice to see ZAC playing really well in this bunker so far. Yeah, gonna be setting up this third camera pan skip.
Yeah, I know we saw some issues with, I believe, We Super not being able to build the bombs at the very end here. Hopefully not an issue for either of these runners. As ZAC hits the camera pan skip to finish out this Endor. And Dragon gonna have to switch to Wicket if he does get it, which he does end up getting the camera pan skip. Basically, no time lost there despite the character he swapped to. With ZAC exiting the level, really the only issue being the rail flies at the very start.
Yeah, just a very surprising mistake.
Aside from that, just cruising the rest of the way. As the lead will pretty much be, I believe, about 15 or so seconds. I could be mistaken.
It should be close to that. Dragon, unfortunately, not having the best bunker. Especially that left side not overlapping any of the button presses. So, yeah, it should be roughly... Actually, he's still saying around 24 seconds.
Oh, wow.
I definitely thought it would have been less, but I think just because of those bunker mishaps, Dragon staying around here in the 25-second range worth of deficit. But the run is looking really good right now. As we're going to be going into ITDS shortly, where any amount of RNG could just make the deficit change. So really exciting.
Yes, and as we get into Jedi Destiny, we do have a prediction up for the amount of safety slashes in total. So do bet your points. I gotta stop, man. I got an addiction. And I'm just losing all my points. It's unbelievable.
You're gonna be out of points, man. This is not good to see.
Yeah, I'm kind of losing my mind here. If you see my finger start to hit the channel points button, please stop me.
All right, yeah, I got you. We'll definitely be making note of how many safety slashes are needed. In my opinion, it's only going to take 3 safety slashes. I'm going to go 1 safety slash for ZAC and 2 for Dragon.
I'm going to go 0.
Oh, wow. You really don't want to win any channel points.
What are you talking about?
All right, ZAC setting up here. It's going to be 1 safety slash like I predicted.
Did I see a second safety slash towards the end?
I'm counting that
okay.
as 1.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. If it hits the Emperor, I think that's fair.
Dragon 1. That's 2. That is 2, I think. I called it perfectly. Unless unless we have some difference of opinion here.
Yeah,
from the mod team.
That's really what it comes down to. I don't think our opinions really matter when it comes to these predictions, as we are just the betters. But
that's true.
In terms of the Jedi Destinies, pretty standard stuff from both. Nothing to really note about either.
We'll have to see what the mods end up doing with that prediction. But in terms of the race, both runners really good on that Destiny. And we're going to be going into one of the most RNG heavy splits in the game into the Death Star, having some of the kind of questionable game design where you have to wait for torpedo ships to come at you so you can actually complete the room.
Yeah, luckily for Dragon, I don't think his competitor is going to be yelling, "We super save me," from, across the whole house. So
yeah,
at the very least, a moment for Dragon to maybe focus up a little bit and not worry about what the other competitor is thinking, as the dupes are really what matter in this first room.
Yeah, the dupes are very important. I mean, I've kind of, the more I've played this game, the more I've realized how much a good dupe can save you, because you're not guaranteed anything in this room. Like, after a certain amount of time, the game will start feeling bad for you, and it will present you a bunch of torpedo ships, but that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things in the speed run, because you want to be out of here in like a 1-3x range. So we'll definitely see what happens. ZAC not presented with anything so far. He does get one that he will attempt to dupe. Not that one, but maybe this one, and he doesn't actually get to dupe either of them. A little bit of slow targeting as well, but he is getting some torpedoes his way. Dragon did not dupe that one. Got 2 different torpedoes. And now a little bit of a dry spell for both players, actually. ZAC is getting a little bit more rewarded, and actually Dragon getting some too. So about equal in this room 1 of Into the Death Star for these players.
ZAC having a little bit more torpedoes at the moment. This Dragon does at least get one. Does see a ship at the bottom of his screen.
Could attempt to dupe it.
Does not end up duping, but at least gets 3 on his ships. Should at least get 1 more to just finish this out. Just get out of this room 1, which is not looking very likely at the moment.
And this is kind of what we were talking about. If he had duped any of those torpedoes beforehand, he wouldn't have had to wait an additional 5 seconds for the rest of them. But ZAC definitely playing a better room 1 there. Hopefully getting more torpedoes for Dragon. Maybe getting this last one. Oh, did he miss a skit? Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
I was going to say that took way too long, and he actually ended up missing the first ship.
So that's going to lose him probably somewhere of about 25 seconds.
That's so unfortunate for him.
Just yet another mistake coming from Dragon that gives ZAC just another opportunity to just take a commanding lead. It's been really sad to see just how these mistakes really add up and stack against someone like ZAC, who can just simply cruise along as if nothing is happening. And, despite the mistakes he did have in Endor, this has been a pretty good episode 6 for ZAC, considering that he's just maintained his lead.
Yeah, really no major issues for ZAC. Getting well rewarded on that room 1 of ITDS. Definitely having a better time there. I'm so surprised that one ended up blanking for Dragon, but such is life, and Dragon's now gonna probably be in roughly like a 40-something second deficit, provided the rest of this level goes well. But he's actually 1 heart on the Falcon here. A little bit scary for him. Yeah, okay, I like the decision making there to intentionally take the death on the Falcon there, and also going for the flip here to get 6 torpedoes. Very safe gameplay. Very good to see from Dragon. Doesn't want to jeopardize anything on this level.
ZAC taking a bit of a risk here, as he did hit the camera pan skip. Does not deal with any issues grabbing the IT brick, though, at the very least. So
very nice.
As someone that has dealt with that personally, it's always nice to see everyone grab it. But Dragon not able to hit the camera pan skip to try to catch up to ZAC with the amount of lead that ZAC has built for himself. See if Dragon is able to at least finish out the core strong enough, as he will also be going for a bit of a risky shot here, but playing it very safe, so no issues on his part. Also grabbing the IT brick with a nice little overlap of the room ending.
Yeah, that was, I think it's really good when the players decide to save 2 torpedoes for that last charge on the left side, protecting the IT brick. It really it doesn't leave it up to chance or anything. So And yeah, we will be in the ending here of ITDS, exiting episode 6, roughly a 40-something second deficit in Zach's favor. Of course, he is winning the race, but just a really, really good race so far, and going into episode 3 shortly.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only episode, or really the only level in episode 3 being a variable here will be Chancellor. We'll see how that's gonna go, as we have seen a lot of issues with that one so far in the tournament, and really just top 8. And we'll see if both of these runners are able to kind of just help themselves here.
Yeah, and I guess we can talk about episode 3 with Justin here. You did have a little bit of issues on that Chancellor yesterday. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Looking forward to the match coming up. Just kind of chilling right now.
Yeah, just what's your mindset like? What do you think about your opponent?
I honestly just haven't really been thinking about it at all. I'm just gonna go up and play. That's kind of the current plan.
No, I like it. I mean, you did just get your tournament best time yesterday, so just trying to expand off that.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to get a time around that today, obviously it's no guarantees that it would win, but it would definitely be a time I'd be happy with. You know, like I said yesterday, I think Bricko has a lot of control over the victor of this match. I'm just kind of playing my game. So we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
Right. An honor for me to be here with you, We Super, as we did meet at PACE 2024. Now I'm here in person for a game that you've really built up a lot with your content and all the work you've put into the tutorial that came out this year. How does it feel to know that I mean, I guess meeting you and just you as a person, how does it feel to know that you've really just helped build this community to where it's at right now?
It's really just crazy, like looking back to when I randomly decided to play this game in November of 2018. You know, there were less than 15 total runners on the entire leaderboard. There was really nothing, and through, of course, myself and many other people, we have been able to sort of just foster a community, and I think really any community can do the same just by being very welcoming and open to help and creating resources and creating a community that people want to be around. Obviously you can create all the tutorials and everything, but you also just need to be fun people and good friends with everybody, and I think that's just such an important piece to growing a small online community, speedrunning or not, really anything. So that's kind of what we've been trying to do over the last few years, and it's crazy that it's kind of led to this point. Probably would have never seen this happening, and so many cool opportunities have come out of speedrunning this game that I assume many other runners are very grateful for.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's just been crazy. So it's super cool to kind of see how it's developed over the past almost 8 years, which is kind of crazy to say.
Yeah, 8 years for you being one of the most accomplished runners and back in the top 4. Did you expect to get this far in the tournament? I'm assuming you did, but
not necessarily. Like I said, I think the odds were very much against me. I'm confident in my ability to play in these, very high pressure competitive scenarios, as evidenced by my, previous tournament performances. I think I have the highest or the best average placement across all tournaments out of anybody. So I'm hoping to kind of keep that average low, whether I get third or make it to the finals, whatever happens. I think if I got 4th place, that would be my lowest placement ever. But if anything, for this tournament and the competition and everything, I wouldn't complain too much about 4th place, which at this point is guaranteed. So
right,
can't be too upset about that.
Well, you can't count out We Super. I mean, obviously being a runner-up, I think each time that you've played in a tournament, if I'm not mistaken, how does it feel knowing that you have another chance to potentially take home this gold brick right in front of you here?
I mean, it's cool. We're gonna have to see what happens. I have no clue what's gonna happen. I think it'll feel a little more real if I make it to grand finals, but I think this other side of the bracket, ZAC or Dragon, is going to be a crazy opponent. I think this is almost a mini grand finals happening right now over on the left side of the bracket.
Exactly.
Whoever wins this match is going to be a heavy favorite in the grand finals, regardless of if me or Bricko wins. So we'll take it one match at a time and see where it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Justin, for that. We're back into Coruscant. Really do appreciate you giving your input there. One of the cornerstones, a pillar of this community, and has really built it up, like we said, to where it is today. And we're very thankful that he's here.
And I think as we get into this Coruscant, we'll see how Zach's body language is as he's shaking his head again.
Okay.
Have we seen another potential death out of Zach?
Actually, no way.
An issue that we've seen consistently throughout the tournament so far. We'll see when the time comes in just how that goes for him.
Yeah.
It seems as though that Dragon is not too far behind.
He only... What was that? What?
We'll see in a sec here.
Oh, okay. It's not coming yet. But...
Yeah, Zach going for Ewok skip. Does hit it very quickly. Very nicely for him.
Yeah, very nice for Zach there on Chancellor. This is one of his best levels in the game, for sure.
Yeah, Dragon having some issues with the Ewok skip. It's Ewok skip yesterday. We'll see how he's able to fare with it. Just in a sec here. Going for the same setup as Zach. Does hit it very cleanly as well. So
very nice. A
nice little redemption for Dragon there.
Yeah, very nice for him. We're going to see Zach going into this find R2 section, not taking any deaths, thankfully, for him. Yeah, really good, actually. Zach managing that very nicely. Dragon not far behind.
Yeah, this fine R2 room being a bit of an issue for Dragon yesterday. It seems as though he's already off to a better start than he was yesterday. We'll see. He's able to at least get rid of these droids quickly. Bit of some awkward camera movement from him, though.
Little awkward going into MVE here. And he did hit it.
Yeah, Zach gonna be setting up for CSJ here. Potentially gonna get a little force push on R2, but does not end up doing that as Dragon having some issues with Mateo there.
This is actually very concerning for Zach. He has 2 droids left alive that could affect... Yeah, there it is. But he doesn't... He actually... Wow, that was insane. He, on the fly, was able to adjust and still have Obi-Wan in the correct position to push R2 out of bounds despite the droids hitting him. So really good, I guess, risk analysis there to actually get that off. So
yeah, Dragon actually getting some unfortunate RNG with R2 getting scared of the droids and running away in the opposite direction of where he needed to set up CSJ, which that was a really interesting way to do it. He had a very small super jump force push there, but it did actually work out for him.
Yeah, it did work out, thankfully. Zach resetting the hearts on that R2. A little bit scary for Zach, but that's going to be fine as Dragon will be getting through that drop and warp section of Chancellor.
Yeah, both runners just making sure not to actually change anything besides the refresh rate here. Most importantly, Dragon. We'll see just what he does in a moment here. But should be no issues for him as we have all learned from our mistakes here.
Yeah, hopefully he's reading that post-it note and knowing not to go to a different resolution would be great.
But yeah, Zach, I know he opts not to really do anything with these droids here except for just deflect with the power-up, which he kills all but one, so
wow.
Strong end rim for Zach to just close out this pretty good Chancellor for him.
Yeah, that was really well done from both players, honestly. I won't speak too soon for Dragon. He does still have to get through this ending section, so...
Yeah, Dragon opting to do a different strategy from Zach, which basically lost the same amount of time having to force that droid. Both runners actually talking about what just potentially happened. Okay,
yeah,
so Zach just not shaking his head for no reason, actually getting a
429.
A 429 Coruscant there. So not sure what that was about. Potentially some tech issues on his end.
Yeah, maybe he hit the extras menu on the dropout at the end of the level or something. Or actually, I don't even think he did drop out. So yeah. I have no idea what he could have possibly been shaking his head about exiting Coruscant there.
Yeah, but Dragon just 35 seconds behind now out of Chancellor. It's like Zach got a 350. Whereas Dragon Did he get a better chance? No, I can't.
He did.
He
Got a
did.
48.
Yeah, right.
So not bad.
Saving some time on really the most. Whoa.
Something is happening on Zach's end. I don't really know. But oh, is that a? Oh no, that was a 4 cycle. Okay. I thought that was a 5. I was gonna lose my mind there. Some finicky stuff happening in this Grievous. Not something you'd normally expect. But this is a very like kind of RNG level. It's hopefully it equalizes for Dragon.
Yeah, Zach really spending a little more time than we, I think, anticipated him to spend in the level itself. But Dragon just not getting any cycles for that matter. Does get the left turn with Grievous, which I've heard does actually give you less of a chance of getting the bad animation. But he gets it once again.
Oh, he wasn't on 48 hertz.
Yeah, Dragon actually on the wrong refresh rate. So that is actually pretty costly for him. And it's going to lose him probably upwards of about 15 seconds.
Maybe not that much since Zach had some issues of his own, but it definitely was costly. I mean, I guess we can make note that, wow, that was a 131 Grievous.
Yeah.
So yeah, he actually did lose a good amount of time there.
Anorak would not be proud.
He lost 7 seconds to Zach, and Zach got a 124. So yeah, that was pretty equalized. But yeah, now the difference of time it's pretty substantial. It's 44 seconds in Zach's favor. So just unfortunate.
But
have to move on.
We are in Kashyyyk now, one of those levels that is a very, very just technically difficult level. I mean, it's just a lot of 1P2C, and if you're not very strong with that 1P2C, it can be a very difficult level to save any time on. And both of these runners, I believe, both having mid to high 4, or really just mid 4Xs, I believe, in for their gold. So their standards are pretty high with this one.
Yeah, their standards are high for like everything in this game. So gonna be getting those 4Xs here, I'm sure. They're both so practiced here in Kashyyyk. I do think Dragon is a slightly better player in general on this level, but we will see.
Yeah, both. I mean, Zach just looking to have a pretty dang good room 1 here. We'll see if he has any reaction to how he played once he enters that beach camera pan. I think it was pretty standard stuff for him. Maybe a little eye roll.
Yes, there must have been something he didn't like about that.
Is he ever happy with anything he does in this game?
Yeah, I think the last time he got record, he was like, yeah, it's all right. No, I'm just kidding. But either way, into the beach for Zach now. Really, that room 1 is the hardest part of this level, besides the very end of the level. So not expecting too much to change in the midsection of Kashyyyk.
Yeah, it really just comes down to that end room. It's really room 1 and the last room that matter the most in this one. So Zach choosing not to do the drop-in warp with Chewie here, as he does end up killing Yoda, which doesn't matter too much, as Chewie is the bottleneck in this last part up until that ATRT.
Right.
So we'll see if Zach is able to hit these pixel jumps cleanly, which really should not be an issue for him.
Yeah, Kashyyyk is such a technical level. There's so much to be done here, and there's so much to lab and really get perfect. So but yeah, Zach has basically played it perfectly. There has been really no major mistake, not even really a minor mistake. If anything, it's really been micro mistakes plaguing Zach in this Kashyyyk. So the Dragon is kind of following suit, really not losing any time as well.
Yeah, pretty strong end room for Zach there.
Wow.
We'll see just what it looks like at the end, as this is not a very long cutscene, so we should be getting that split time fairly soon.
Yeah, definitely.
As Dragon is just now entering the part where he needs to force those nodes and destroy them to escape Kashyyyk.
Yeah, this is an important section for Dragon. Zach played it basically near perfectly. And it's going to be a little more awkward for Dragon because he has so many guys left alive.
Yeah, luckily able to overlap the killing with the escape pod popping up instead of having to deal with them before actually being able to force them. Both exchanging some words about that Kashyyyk and potentially the Grievous that happened before it.
Yeah, that was the kind of weirdest split that we've seen so far. That Grievous. And that was a 45 for ZAC on Kashyyyk, which is very strong. A 48 for Dragon there. Not bad at all, but still losing time to ZAC. I mean, you can play a 48 on Kashyyyk and still lose time. It's like, are you ever going to save time? Like, it's just so hard when you're playing ZAC.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this is the best we've actually seen ZAC play the entire tournament so far.
Yeah, he's leveled up.
I think that run yesterday really just kind of set him in place for where he needs to be mentally and physically for just, you know, getting acclimated to the situation of being 4 feet across from the other person.
Yeah. I mean, ZAC hit that red staircase jump. He's having a little bit of awkwardness here, but gets some perfect deflects on Obi-Wan there. That is unbelievable. He's like no guys left alive here.
I've never seen anyone kill 3 droids there, or clones there. That was really interesting.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. So ZAC is just going to be going for this library skip. No issues. He looks perfectly set up, and he does hit the trick. So wonderful on Ruin for ZAC. Gonna be not opting to go for the auto dropout. I can't really blame him. Obi-Wan was 2 hearts, and if you die on either player when attempting that auto drop, then you just can't do it. So
Dragon actually getting a really good deflect there as well. Gonna leave that trooper alive. Maybe not, actually. I'm surprised he's actually opting to kill that last one, as it's not really necessary for library skip, but maybe it's just a peace of mind thing for him to actually hit the trick. Dragon looking good as well. Perfectly good library skip for him.
wow, really nice.
And we'll see him. I think he does go for the auto dropout here, so we'll see just how that goes for him, which very cleanly done, right in the nick of time as well.
Yeah, I guess the thing about killing that trooper is Obi-Wan is the bottleneck in that room, like getting him all the way to that section on the library door. So it's not really too bad of a decision to kill that trooper, especially when you're low hearts, like he kind of was there. So no harm, no foul there. And that was 2 really good ruins. That was a 211 and a 208. So Dragon actually, the time he lost in Kashyyyk, he made up. So we're back to around a 44-second deficit.
Yeah, ZAC hitting a very clean pillar clip as well.
Yeah,
Vader,
really nice.
Vader being one of those levels where, you know, one mistake yet again, just a really huge time loss if you do mess anything up. And I know Dragon actually had some issues with this drop-in warp yesterday. We'll see how it goes for him this time around. I don't think he's going to have that many issues. Yeah, perfectly clean for him. Should just hit this transition as well. Going for pillar clip. And yeah,
nice.
Pretty similar for both. Just a bit of tribulations for Dragon there compared to ZAC, but for the most part, about even in this Vader.
Yeah, a little bit of a struggle hitting that transition for Dragon on that first room drop and warp, but otherwise perfectly done from both players. So gonna see how it goes on the house jump, but missing this house jump would be disastrous and could actually be what Dragon needs if ZAC was to do it. But ZAC in general is gonna play this pretty safe. Not gonna really try to like push the envelope too much here. Yeah, I see him wait there intentionally. Barely actually makes it, but despite waiting. So thankfully he did wait. If he didn't wait, he would have actually missed that. So
good awareness from him there.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, so leaving episode 3, we are going to be heading into episode 5, and really just the decider. It being the last episode, of course it's the decider, but really it all starts with Hoth and just how the RNG goes for both runners. Most importantly, those AT-AT spawns, I think. But obviously fast waves being something we have to keep in mind in terms of Hoth locking. There's always the potential that one of these runners could run into some soft lock issues, not even just in Hoth, but as well, we do have CCT and Bespin. Well, maybe not, actually, now that I think about it. With the new trick found in Echo Base,
yeah,
we actually will not, depending on if these runners go for it, we might actually not even have to worry about the soft lock in CCT or Bespin.
Yeah, potentially. I don't actually know if either runner is going to be I know ZAC was labbing it before the match, but I'd be very surprised to see him pull it out here.
Right, and I think one thing to note as well is the best possible times being as far away as they are at the moment, but most importantly, ZAC with a 2:15:49 BPT, which is very impressive for being this late into the run in a no reset setting. He already lost 10 seconds from that episode 1, as well as that episode 4 reset. He had some issues and, you know, some technical issues with Grievous, it seemed. So far, despite those issues, ZAC is playing very well and potentially even world record pace without those issues.
This was a really good run from ZAC. Really, I can't even think of his biggest mistake. Maybe Camino clip miss or something, like all the way back in Camino. Like, it's been like a really good run from ZAC. Probably one of the better paces we've had in ladder league this year. So I would be surprised if this wasn't actually the fastest time of the tournament. Of course, the time to beat is a 17:03, but I mean, he's well prepared to do that. Like a 15:49 is, that BBT is definitely good enough to beat 17:03.
Yeah, and I guess one thing to note, I actually did just get word that the soft lock is actually more unpredictable now without the bomb building, because the gizmo loop will just go repeatedly until the end of the level. And so that is a potential soft lock incoming if anyone does decide to actually go for the setup itself, or for the new strat itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're into Hoth now. Zach's going to be going for that early menuing like we talked about. He doesn't like to do that controller menuing. He really likes the keyboard menuing there, so it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, we have seen some issues with the bomb in this first room already. I think twice in this top 8 setting with Anorak and I think Xenor. But ZAC not having any issues. We'll see what Dragon is able to accomplish here. Not really a room that you think of when it comes to Hoth being difficult, but potentially disaster for some runners.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really disastrous for some runners. I think we even saw AT-ATs get back up for some of these runners earlier in the ladder. Like, that was pretty disastrous. We've seen a few soft locks in Hoth in the arena, but hopefully none here. ZAC going for that fast wave on wave 1. Gets a pretty good go on the first round of VSBs. Oh, actually pretty slow.
Always a bit scary when you see just one left, but that first wave, I think, being a little harder to soft lock on compared to the second one.
Yeah.
So good for ZAC to get past that first one, even if his heart did skip a beat for a moment there.
Yeah, and here we are setting up. This looks like pretty decent positioning for ZAC.
Yeah,
pretty players.
Pretty standard. I would know a thing or two about this level. Thanks, man. About this level, getting the tournament best, but ZAC
this is
having some issues, but
nice.
he did end up actually getting the last AT. What is it?
AT-ST?
ST? That's an ST?
Yeah, AT-ST.
All right.
The all-terrain something trend. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. ZAC not going for the Matin wraps, as we have seen issues with the Matin wraps so far. Dragon is not getting the kills he needs, but just some unfortunate RNG. So luckily enough for him, not really that big of an issue, as ZAC gets the worst possible spawn for the way that he went. So that's very unfortunate for him.
Could be a double spawn,
and it is. This could potentially.
I don't know if this is double killable, but
definitely not double killable. But at the very least, Dragon can overlap killing one and getting the second bomb that is needed. But the bomb goes off camera,
yeah,
so
that is disastrous.
He
actually
will have to go and grab it again, as well as grabbing another bomb from the dispenser on the left side. So a very unfortunate death for Dragon there, as he wasn't able to get back in time to actually move the camera. Luckily able to recover it pretty well. Obviously frustrated, but
God, Zach's RNG this run, like this Hoth has been horrible. Like, he's had such bad RNG on these waves.
Yeah.
Dragon's RNG has been much better. His execution has been slightly worse. So just unfortunate. Dragon needs to grab this bomb, and he takes a death on P2. He'll get it just in time, though. That's not losing that much. And I think Dragon will have saved time here.
Yeah, luckily for Dragon, at least not taking a death with P1, so he did not have to do the wrap all over again. But obviously, any death in any level is going to be costly. And I think this is where we kind of take note of what can happen in this next level. I mean, obviously, the new time save found by Sedumnastic It's going to be exciting to see if either runner decides to go for it, although I don't think we're going to see that happen. But always a potential CG watch when it comes to new strategies, so
Yeah.
we will keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, definitely keep an eye out for that. Yeah, Zach getting a 608. I think Dragon should have been a little bit better than that. He did have a little bit worse of RNG on that wave too, potentially, but
He did get really good RNG with that double spawn at the very least, even if he did lose that time. So yeah, Dragon clawing back some time with that one.
yeah, he did actually. He gets a 553, so saving 15 seconds is major for Dragon on that Hoth. It's now down to, what is that? A 29-second difference.
Yeah, exciting stuff. I mean, that's episode 5 for you. Anything can happen, and it really starts with Hoth. Can't imagine how ZAC feels after getting that 608, but he's able to kind of just ignore what just happened and just cruise along as if nothing ever happened. He should be fine, as this is an episode he's seen too much at this point. Yeah, opting not to do the new heater strategy as, you know,
Blame him.
a lot of variance with it being so new. I doubt Dragon even wants to go for it in the first place, as you know, any strat that he tries to figure out, he makes sure he is super consistent with before even it tries to implement it into a run.
Exactly. All right, Zach setting up boom skip here. Awkward on the pauses there. That looks pretty good to me. And he does get out first try. Not bad at all for Zach.
Dragon also setting up boom right now.
Very important that he hits this.
Adjusting a good amount, but does get the right setup. So we will be seeing 2 boom skips here. I'm feeling this is pretty strong. It's
Oh
pretty
wow,
good.
Zach getting a power up despawn actually, and taking a
Whoa.
death with Han is actually major time loss. And it's gonna mean that Zach has to not, he doesn't get to fast build the bomb at the end of this room, and he also doesn't even get to skip taking the death. Dragon also dying, but he at least gets the power up. So interesting stuff for both runners here.
Yeah, Dragon's going to be able to actually make up some time because of that, so...
Yeah, definitely.
And Zach also taking a death with Han, which would have actually saved him a little bit more time having not getting the power up in the first place. I doubt we'll see anybody cutting corners here in the slide room, as Zach is going to be hitting those 3.
Scary for Zach. It looked like he wasn't far enough left to hit that last button,
And
but
Dragon actually cutting the corner to try to save just ever so slightly more time to Zach, which... Assuming that he hits this camera pan, unfortunate
too far
for
to the
him.
right.
But pretty much breaking almost even, I think, with Zach in that room.
Yeah.
As a result of that corner cut. So at the very least for Dragon, a small advantage there. As Zach misses the Falcon jump twice.
This is concerning for Zach, and he's opening the door ever so slightly for Dragon. This is actually really important.
Dragon hitting it first try, so he will be taking advantage of that time save.
Wow.
This is getting scary as we're getting into Falcon Flight. Things could start to get really close as we finish things out in this episode.
Yeah, Dragon notably got the power up, so he saved like at least 5 seconds with that. Zach taking the death on the bomb build there, so that was actually a lot of time. I'd imagine that was like 10 seconds of time save for Dragon in that level alone.
Yeah, very impressive stuff we're seeing from Dragon here, as he's just trying to make this comeback look real, as he's not even been in the lead, I think, since Escape, if I'm not mistaken. Escape from Naboo, that is, the 3rd level of the entire run. So Dragon only 21 seconds behind now.
Wow. Yeah, so that was 8 seconds he saved in Echo Base alone. And that was mostly just the power-up despawn. So Zach's RNG in this episode 5 has been so bad so far. Will it continue into Boulder, where it really can make all the difference? We'll have to see.
And now both runners just praying for Wii Super's presence here, hoping that they can just get as lucky as him.
Yeah, I think at this point they've actually called him into the runner room to get some type of luck emanating from him. So
Zach just grabbing that red brick for funsies. Love to see that from him.
yeah, what red brick is that?
I
Is
believe
that like
score 6.
score 6
Times 6.
That's important. Yeah. Okay. And just like that, we are near, like, we're not tied RTA, but we're getting close. We're getting really close. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess as we get through Falcon Flight, we can kind of just talk about the gauntlet that's upcoming in just a moment here with Dagobah all the way to Bespin. I mean, there's chance for Dragon to break ahead at pretty much any point at any of those levels. As you know, Dragon is very good at Dagobah. It is his strongest level, and he is the strongest in the game at it as well. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if Dragon's able to take advantage of ZAC there. But we'll have to wait and see for that. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. In terms of this level, though, just some nice cruising along with the X-Wing and the Falcon.
yeah, you're cruising along this level until the moment of dread at the very end of the level with the boulder, where you have virtually no control.
ZAC blanking on the barrier, the first barrier of this room. Oh my goodness, and the torpedo taking a very long path. That's going to give Dragon a really good chance to inch closer to ZAC here.
Yeah, that's super big for Dragon. And if ZAC doesn't execute well on this last, he gets a blank.
Oh my
His
goodness.
RNG is unbelievably unfortunate for ZAC in this episode 5 as Dragon and ZAC are tied going into the boulder room, basically RTA.
We'll see how this boulder goes for both. Both kind of getting some interesting looking boulders, at least Dragon's case. He's getting a pretty fast one. As ZAC gets a nice floater here.
Yeah, he's definitely getting a little bit better of a boulder here. It's kind of hard to keep track of both runners at the same time on the boulder. I think Dragon actually having a little bit better of a time.
And ZAC double targets, I think, one of the last ones that he needs.
I think, yeah, ZAC just gets his last, and this is Dragon's last. So if that hit,
it
it's
is
not his last. What?
We'll see. This could potentially be it.
Wow.
So Dragon clawing back even more time out of Falcon Flight. A clear example of just how daunting the boulder can really be, as if it doesn't go your way, it's completely out of your control.
Yeah, and both runners look like they're checking the status of the stream right now on their phones to see where they stand versus the other runner, and it's going to be probably within 15 seconds.
And I believe both even talking to each other to just mention it, as I think both maybe see that they're checking the stream. So,
oh
yeah,
my goodness.
Both having a brief discussion right before the last 3 levels here, and it's getting scary. It's getting real scary.
Okay, actually, interestingly, ZAC saved a second to Dragon in that Falcon Flight. Despite having all the mishaps on the barriers, Dragon's boulder was just bad enough to where, wow, yeah, ZAC was able to save a second somehow. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, impressive stuff we've seen in this episode 5 so far, with ZAC just trying to give Dragon a chance to get into the lead here. It's going to be interesting to see how things play out the rest of the way.
Yeah, going to be very interesting. Getting into Dragon's best level, but ZAC is no slouch here either, so it's really anyone's race with only 22 seconds of difference between the two runners going into Dagobah.
All right, ZAC just going to be pushing R2 up these little slopes here. Same with Dragon. Once again, Dragon just being a really strong player at this level, taking a slightly better line than ZAC there, I believe, as well. Just try to take it, like I said, again, just like taking advantage of the situation of just being really proficient at Dagobah.
Yeah, and ZAC actually not able to destroy the bush with EBB there, so having to fly over it is going to lose some time for sure. And Dragon and ZAC going for the Dagobah button skip here.
And at this point, a slip up for ZAC basically gives Dragon the lead. So that is going to be something to note, as ZAC can't even get up with R2 there. I think RTA, we're going to be seeing Dragon take a lead potentially.
Yeah, Dragon playing really well so
and he
far.
will be taking the lead RTA.
Yeah, very small lead, less than a second roughly of lead. But it is a lead RTA regardless. And that's kind of what it is for Dragon. He does have the... Oh, wow. ZAC has a pickle.
So Dragon actually taking the lead, entering the cave in Dagobah after being behind all the way back in 1-3.
Wow. The race is all the way back for Dragon. He is still behind, of course, LRT, but on our screens, he is ahead. So it's going to be a little bit hard to discern who actually is winning the race towards the end of this. Got to definitely keep in mind that LRT difference.
Yeah, this cave being a bit of a tricky bit of the level, as you do need to get that force movement during the camera pans. Very key that both runners actually execute both parts, or the entire fight, just really well. But for Dragon, not really an issue, I think, at this point in his TCS career.
No, Dragon's been playing really well this Dagobah. I remember yesterday versus Jared, he played much worse on this level. So definitely remedying his mistakes today and playing really well so far in this Dagobah. Right when it matters, he needs this very badly in order to stay with ZAC, and he's definitely taking advantage of it. I feel like ZAC is starting to feel the nerves, because that pickle jump miss was not something he would normally do at all. Kind of just like an unfortunate timing of the jump there, which caused him to fail the trick. So, oh wow, really weird from Dragon. Gets warped on the other side of the push turnstile thing there.
Luckily, no issues with Yoda this time around, as Yoda's hitbox is slightly lower than Luke's. But for Dragon, I know he had some issues with it yesterday, but looks like he's doing just fine.
Yeah, Dragon doing much better than yesterday, slamming those bats, but he does get interrupted on the build with Luke, unfortunately. But yeah, oh, ZAC dying. Could actually have that matter, but it's going to be fine.
He evades a hit from the bat, as that would reset his build by a good margin. ZAC having some issues at the end here, getting R2 to show up in the first place. That's going to give Dragon pretty much the lead, I think.
Oh my goodness.
Almost certainly. As ZAC is clearly frustrated. I mean, anyone would be frustrated with what happened with Pickle Jump, as well as the ending of R2 just simply not showing up. So heading into CCT...
Oh my goodness. Like, this is crazy.
We will potentially be seeing a lead change, a pretty big lead change, and even more so, a chance for that lead to change yet again, as CCT is one of those levels where anything can go wrong.
Yeah, anything can go wrong at this point. In CCT and Bespin, we have seen some unbelievable fumbles in Bespin and CCT so far this year, but we're gonna have to see this deficit out of Dagobah. 8-second difference now for Dragon. He was all the way behind. He was up to almost a minute behind in some parts of this race, and now it is all the way back to only 8 seconds of deficit. And both runners know that this is the case. So the pressure is the highest it could possibly be in this moment. Both our runners getting into CCT here.
Let's see how it goes. Dragon entering the first room here. Pretty trivial trick here, as DV0 is not very difficult to perform here. Take a look at the bottom of the screen. ZAC with a 63% chance to actually take home this win, whereas Dragon with a 37% chance. This is getting real tense here now, as things are closer than I think we anticipated midway through the run.
Yeah, this is as close as it could possibly be. Dragon taking a very unfortunate death there. Going to have to respawn and kill these other troopers. And ZAC getting horrible RNG on that deflect. His RNG in this episode 5, besides Boulder, has been absolutely horrible. It has basically been the bridge for Dragon to get back into this. And ZAC is really fumbling this early section, as Dragon has hit that DV1 panel fly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really good example of just with how ZAC started. It's that Dragon having a bit of a interesting jump there, but it's interesting to see just how tricky this level can be. Dragon setting up for the new DVT setup.
Gonna be so important for him to hit this
First try.
Really well done from Dragon there on DVT. Now coming down to DV3, he was really proficient at it yesterday versus Jared, so hoping for the same here. ZAC is hot on his tail RTA, but I still think slightly ahead LRT.
Dragon hitting DV3 first try. As ZAC hits DVT, we'll see if ZAC is able to back him up here. If he does, we're potentially seeing an even split going into Bespin.
Yeah, it's going to be really close, ZAC.
Unbelievable stuff we're seeing right now with ZAC hitting DV3 first try. No issues in DV4 as well, so long as he can hit this panel jump. This is as tight as it can possibly be against two of the game's best runners currently.
This is the highest level that TCS any percent has ever been played at. We're at the in-person tournament in Indianapolis. Going into the last split, we have less than 5 seconds potentially of difference between our two best runners in the game. And this is unbelievable.
So much aura in the room right now.
It's unthinkable what's happening right now. Going into Bespin, this is like, look at the BPT, 217.07. 217.06. He actually was at a gold of 304 CCT for Dragon in the highest stake moment of his entire career in TCS. It's just unbelievable.
We'll see what ZAC got in just a moment here, as it is a 3-second difference heading into Bespin.
Oh my god.
Any mistake matters here. And oh my gosh, I can't believe how close it is.
Yeah, and ZAC having to step away from the PC to calm himself before this Bespin. 3-second lead only. The BPTs are literally the same going into this Bespin. Both of their golds is the same here. So if oh my god, if ZAC is
Dude,
able
I'm shaking.
If ZAC is able to play close to his gold, he will win the match. But that's all it comes down to. It's look at that live win prediction, 56% to 44%. Their gold is literally the same here.
Wow.
Or not the same, but this is just crazy.
Yeah, I'm in disbelief at what I'm witnessing right now. I mean, for Dragon to have the ability to come back after such a shaky start and to be able to just find those cracks in the door that ZAC just keeps giving him. At this point, the door is wide open for both. It's just a matter of who can get to it first. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, ZAC's RNG this episode 5 has been really bad. Like in Hoth, it was horrible. In Falcon Flight, the beginning section, it was really bad. Echo Base, even he had bad RNG on the power up despawn. So it doesn't matter now. We're into Bespin for Dragon. ZAC not far behind. And this is unbelievable. Just unbelievable that we have made it all the way back here for Dragon.
Yeah, Dragon flying all the way across from Finland. Gonna be heading into this Boba fight. Ooh, some weird interaction there, but not too big of a deal, as he will be now going for Chewy door clip, a trick that has seemed to be a bit of an issue for some runners so far in the top 8 setting.
Yeah, definitely has been. And ZAC actually missing the camera pan skip. That's a major, but does hit that quad shot to remedy the problem there. Dragon taking a death on Chewy there. Going to be going for the Chewy door clip. That looks like a successful setup, and he does get out of bounds. Going for this auto dropout. We've seen major disaster here before, but that is going to be working just fine for him. Has to kill that last trooper.
Oh my goodness.
But does it kill him?
A master flub for Dragon, as ZAC is dealing with the ghost trooper on his screen and still not being able to get rid of some of these. Ginger
Civilian
Legend.
RNG.
Ginger Legend making a brief appearance in the final moments of this match.
Oh my
Dragon
goodness.
will be able to use his panel, so no major disaster here for him.
This is unbelievable. ZAC taking a death there. And this is literally as close as it could possibly be. Dragon is going for elevator clip right now with a modified GTF. Looks to be getting it properly, and that looks good. Has to pay attention to his line. The panel is usable for ZAC. And that line looks just fine for Dragon, so not going to have any issues there.
ZAC setting up for modified GTF. Good pause frame. Does get out. Will be underneath as well.
Oh my gosh. That's so low for ZAC, but he gets back up. Gonna be going for this line.
Does take the risky line, as he kind of needs to at this
riskier.
point. But
Still
this is
looked good though.
It did look very good, but it is the deciding point of the run at this point. So good decision for ZAC, I think, as it could be the difference between him winning and him losing.
Yeah, definitely a good decision. I mean, we're playing for Latterly Grand Finals right now, so there is no time to spare when you're this close going into Bespin. Both players doing a fine job on that mid platform. Dragon, of course, going to be visually ahead on our screen, but we won't know LRT who the winner will be until we get to the end of the level.
Dragon going to be setting up for box clip here. A trick that has been giving a lot of runners issues throughout this season, but Dragon resetting his hearts, could be going for Deathless, which could actually be another deciding point of this match, assuming that he's able to hit it first try.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. Our two best players, Dragon and ZAC, in the semifinals, coming into bridge skip for Dragon to potentially win versus our number 4 seed ZAC.
ZAC taking
dying
it dead.
again. Dragon hitting the
bridge skip
deathless.
first try. We will see what it looks like for ZAC here as he just needs to hit bridge skip and hit that transition. Dragon finishing out with a 217-18.
Unbelievable.
That is the time to beat for ZAC here as he heads into the last room of the entire race.
Could be his potentially last run in the tournament.
Going for Deathless as well.
Looks
And he
scary,
misses.
and that's gonna be it for ZAC. He can no longer win the match. That's it for ZAC. Deathless bridge skip miss signals the end of ZAC's tournament. An unbelievable comeback from Dragon in the semifinal match. And Dragon,
We will confirm in a moment here. But I do believe that is it for ZAC.
yeah, Dragon will be winning the match with a 217-18. Unbelievable scenes. And they can't believe it themselves. It looks like they're both in shock at the result of the match. Just talking about the outcome. Oh my gosh.
Nice little bromance there as they do share an embrace there. Very good to see these two keeping it so close for us. ZAC finishing with a 217-29. Look at the difference from episode 1 from the two
my
runners.
God.
And now we go all the way to the end and it flips.
Oh my god. That
50-second
episode 5.
flip.
Look, I mean, it's crazy. It was 44 seconds of difference out of episode 1 and 44 seconds of difference out of episode 3.
As we have Dragon coming down.
Dragon,
to
our
join us.
winner, coming down. Oh my god. How are you feeling, man? That is insane. I'm literally ruffling my hair because I'm like holding my, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, we were both kind of holding our heads around that. But Dragon, welcome, winner, and now one of our grand finalists. How does it feel to be in grand finals?
I'm very, very euphoric right now. I cannot believe I was so far behind and I still managed to win.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we mentioned in the broadcast is that ZAC pretty much has an advantage over you in episode 1, just in terms of consistency, and it kind of showed in this race. However, your consistency everywhere else is unmatched, clearly, as you just dominated the rest of the way. And just, I mean, I guess not exactly dominated, but you took advantage of all the time saves that he gave you. And I guess if there's one question I have to ask is, how did you keep yourself in that run knowing you're in such a huge deficit?
Like after 1, of course, I was almost a minute behind. And then I had like a reset problem because Justin's PC is weird. And then I lost like 7 to that. So that was like even worse. And then after BHP, I didn't really have a bad split before like Speeder.
Yeah.
I was just not that nervous. Like, I got a really bad maul and feed, but I was not nervous after pod race, really, except for the back half of episode 5.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, it was a 44-second difference going in episode 5. I will say his RNG was much worse in that episode 5. Definitely, despite the fact that he got a better Falcon flight than you, everywhere else in the episode 5, he had much worse RNG, but you still played much better, especially that Dagobah, your tried and true level. You played much better there to really bring the deficit back. And I guess, how are you feeling being a grand finalist in Ladder League Season 3?
I feel great. Honestly, I thought I would lose. Before the match, I thought I would lose.
I think with the outcome that just happened, I think we were all kind of anticipating such a tight race, and you guys just gave us the match of the tournament. I mean, it's kind of, it's unbelievable just how insane it was. I'm sure I think Anorak had mentioned, we were kind of popping off during his race yesterday, his pod race. Were you hearing the reactions throughout the house when you were doing the run itself? And did that affect how you were playing, I should say?
I think I heard something. I think the only thing I really remember hearing was when I took my headset off and Zach missed bridge skip. I think that was what happened
Oh, okay.
because I already finished.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, they were literally like every time the channel prediction went off, they were literally cheering. Like when you killed the guy in Spaceport End Room, the trooper, they literally started like clapping and like
What?
losing their mind.
And I guess
Glazing over.
It was crazy.
and I guess I have one more question for you, so you can just go enjoy this win. How does it feel being at your age, starting this game less than 2 years ago,
Mhm.
to be here in America, flying across with just yourself? How does it feel to have accomplished something that a lot of people would have a lot of difficulty doing?
I don't know. It's just because this is my first kind of trip alone without my parents. And then for this amazing event we have put together. And I'm so glad me and Zach could both play really well and give you guys an amazing match. And I'm really, really glad I'm in the finals.
Yeah. It was just amazing. Thank you so much, Dragon. Our grand finalist in Ladder League Season 3. That was an absolute cinema match. We, of course, are going to have Bricko and We Super playing, but of course, we also have some great content from our resident content creator, We Super, coming up shortly during the break. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will be back shortly for sure.